Alright. Stream is starting. I got the timer going for us to start. I do have a hard stop at about 2 o'clock, just so everybody's aware. It's fair season for me, so my Sundays are usually second half of the day. I'm going to be doing fair stuff. So, um, we're good. I hope your hangover's doing okay there, Sophie. Um, and I hope you feel better. But we'll get through this, and I'll be right back. I'm at that age. I'm at that age where I save most of my drinking for one point of the year. At least we don't put syrup in our beer. I know, so sad. Put it back. That's basically Kiddos. Yeah, you can buy deer tips and make jewelry out of them off Amazon. They're like 15 bucks.
having a huge blow-up party and all that stuff with all of them, and then it transferred over. It's that scene. Okay. It's that scene, and then she's like, "You guys ever think about death? Do you guys, hey Barbies, you ever think about dying?" And so then, but that's like, how did you not remember that song? There's literally just the entire scene with that song. I was paying attention. It was in the trailer. I was paying attention to literally every other element.
We're live.
The one part of it that the song was the main part. Yelling at the open.
Yeah.
I was like, don't understand how you didn't remember the song. Hi guys. Hello.
Welcome to the stream.
I hope to goodness the first line of the stream was, "Why are you yelling at me about the Barbie movie?" No, it started a little bit earlier.
I think it was you guys would think of death. I think that was that was like a really.
Yeah, I think we opened on death actually.
Yeah. Seems quite fitting.
Appropriate.
Guys, we were talking about the Barbie movie.
Death.
For once, it was to somewhat.
That's Barbenheimer.
The death movie.
No, that's Barbenheimer. That's the fusion. It's Barbie that sets off the nukes. That's the Barbenheimer plot.
Oh, spoilers.
No, it's Ken.
This could destroy the world. Hi, Barbie.
Yeah.
All right. So we are getting a little. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Anybody want to?
Everybody, we're back.
Volunteer for a quickie recap for anyone who's missed it?
What did we do last time? I just remember the hag didn't want to be friends with me. We met another freaking hag. We entered in, we solved puzzles. Kiddis looked into the mirror. Was that the last session or the session before?
No, that was last
session. It was last session, yeah.
We found the Mirror of Desire, and we were kind of dumb and didn't think through the entire scene of Harry Potter, where we looked into the Mirror of Desire. And then Kiddis got drawn in, got a migraine because Cedar was rude and yanked her out. Cedar was helpful and pulled her out. Yanked me out. We had no idea how that worked, so we just yoinked you. That was just so rude. And then everyone looked into the mirror, and then we finally figured out that in order to unlock the door via mirror, we just had to unlock the door. And it did. We opened the door, and then we got through to the next section. There was apparently a statue of some sort of religious people group that they stole. We didn't go anywhere near that, but I just wanted to point it out because I thought it was rude. Then we continued down. There was a bunch of different traps. Dana got over one of the traps via tiny hut. Kids went to the torture room with Cedar. Kids stole a bunch of charges. Cedar was horrified about stealing the charges and was opening them. Cedar broke a lot of them. And so then Dana and Gail climbed over, discovered a room where they're purifying the charges into like the liquid form. They dumped that out. Then they climbed over, and the tiny hut was breaking because this what they placed it on was some sort of magic thing, like a magic mat thing that was just not happy about being in a hut. Then we continued on, and then we met these basilisks. And then it turns out they don't turn you to stone. Instead, what they do is take your health points and life force. When you look,
which Sharice was very happy with.
No, I was not. I was not happy about this. So Dana turned one of them to stone via the magic eye. Then we were fighting them. Kiddis teleported over to hide behind the altar. Surprise, surprise, there was the hag. And the hag did not want to be friends. I don't understand why. I was friendly. She had skulls. We could have been besties.
I was friendly.
What do you mean you don't understand? She was evil. That's why she didn't want to be friends. The last hag liked me. The last hag was also... Yes, she liked me.
Sharice, that hag was so evil that even when my attacks hit, they did nothing. That's how evil she was.
It's not my fault.
Has nothing to do with stats.
I'm resistant to necrotic damage. What does that make me?
Weak.
I was actually just talking to the assistant GM before before we got started, and I was telling her my favorite part of the campaign thus far was Gale's heroic jumping in, blowing up 40 damage, and then he's like necrotic, and I'm like,
it does nothing.
Like, most heroic moment in the world.
It's like that moment in like a comedy action movie where the guy finally, decides he's going to do this. He takes the gun and it just goes. That's literally what that attack was.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm
then
still
everybody's just
bloody annoyed about it.
I'm awkward now. And then, so the DM decided to screw us over by using Finger of Death to kill Dana. And so then Dana was down. Then I teleported, managed to get the next attack that not to hit me. Cedar went down. Then Gale's attack didn't work. Then Kidis was using Witch Bolt and was working. Licking me. Gale got Dana up. Dana finally killed the stupid hag. Why are you licking my elbow? And then we finally then Gale healed all of us back up, and I got Bones of Fae that shouldn't exist. Except for I think Dana kept the skull, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, we found the Blue Fae Queen.
So then we finally went down and found the Blue Fae Queen, and she's currently
leveled
doesn't
up.
have to look up at us, and she's kind of pinned
She's
with
in
bones.
a lot of pain, and I've been concerned for a good 2 weeks.
Yep.
Also, can I just make a note? I talked with Harry about this.
Who?
So Shanti and Blue have been basically even in this tug of war over our cleric, right? Aquafania hasn't even been at her full power.
I'm screwed.
Yes. I'm just gonna point that out and leave it there for reasons.
But yeah, so that's pretty much everything that happened last session. We got screwed over by the DM via hag.
I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't think you would screw me so hard so quickly, but I'm glad we got to that point early on.
You should have at least had the super rabbit come over first, so you could wine dine us and then fuck us.
It's fine. You can just buy me breakfast. It's okay.
Yeah.
Aftercare. Aftercare is really important.
Oh yeah, it's. We are a family-friendly stream.
No, we're not.
You guys, my sisters watch this. You guys know.
I forgot about that.
No, you have done nothing. It's those three over there.
Well, yeah, but I did kind of start it with my word choice.
I have the dog.
You do have the dog now.
All right.
He could say he needed comfort.
So
you guys have worked your way in, collected your bounties in the form of Fey bones and things like that. I think we ended. I'll just go ahead and move your tokens for now. You guys enter the bottom room, and there she is, just kind of pinned to the wall. Not really making a sound, not really raising her head. She's torn up. Her clothes, which are made actually out of the energy that forms her corporeal form, torn and tatter. You can tell and see the tears as they kind of fall down her face as they become the blue flames you guys are familiar with inside the charges. So you guys immediately know that the charges are coming from her. They are essentially her tears or her blood. And you can also tell that there's just dry blood all over the floor. You actually smell the rot and the decay. So this is a place that's never really been cleaned but used for more than just her. And there she is, just kind of pinned to the wall. Bones piercing through her skin, almost like rib bones going through her chest and wrapping around, pinning her to the wall.
Gross.
Wait, is there anything that would block us from going to her?
There was a force field. The water was hitting against it.
Good point. What do we do about the force field, you guys?
I'm going to see if there's something I don't care about to check at it.
One of Kidis's pets.
No! I swear it's hurting. Someone is dying.
I'm the closest to her. Please don't do that, because I think it might be me that
I'm the
dies.
furthest away, so good luck.
I'm gonna pull out one of my shit ton of black roses.
I love that is your measurement.
I don't know how many I have.
That's
I
your
just have a
canonical
lot.
measurement.
That is my canonical measurement for how many roses I have in my bag.
Let's go My Chemical Romance gig.
And I'm going to poke it with the rose.
Whack its force field with a flower.
You're poking the barrier, the containment barrier with the rose.
Yes.
No.
Simply disgust.
I hate it when he asks for clarification.
No, it passes right through.
That's interesting. Thinking on whether or not I'm going to have Kiddes just impulsively just try to walk through now.
Do it. Do it.
Okay. Do I think it's gonna kill me first? Do I think it's gonna kill me?
So, do you want to inspect it at all, or
Yeah, I'll inspect it
investigate
first.
it? Yeah, all right.
I'm investigating with the rose.
I would like to assist with investigation.
All right.
So does
Yeah,
that gives
gonna be standing in marvel. I'm just like, oh,
So,
she's
Kiddes,
here.
you're the one brave enough to approach it for now. So go ahead and you poked it with the rose. Go ahead and roll your investigation with advantage from, I guess, Cedar, who's just there like, poke it again, do it again.
15.
Do it harder.
15.
So 15 gets you this. You get the idea that the rose kind of passes through, that this is more of a containment barrier for her than it is a keeping out. It's more over a keeping in.
Okay, so I'm gonna walk through and then see if and then try to walk back and see if I can just go wee wee wee.
Poor Aquafina.
Become a police car?
So the moment you
The
actually
siren.
the moment you breach the barrier, you die. No, kidding. So you kind of breach the barrier, and the still water that was kind of swirling around on the ground actually kind of begins to swell and become a tempest. And the moment you kind of step in, she actually comes alive to a point where, like, she hasn't really moved thus point. She looks up at you, her eyes kind of just flaming blue as the water actually forces itself kind of into your lungs. And
Okay.
you find yourself struggling to breathe before you step back out of the barrier.
I step back out. So
You okay?
okay. Just water just starts dribbling out.
Oh,
Wait.
I read about
Yeah,
was
she's like
different.
choking, right? Water forced itself into her lungs and then became kind of like a tempest.
Cedar starts giving Kiddes the Heimlich maneuver. I know how to do this. I know how to fix this.
You know how to Heimlich? Okay, I'll supervise.
Would it still be called Heimlich in D&D?
I don't know.
It's like,
I
who
mean,
invented what doctor? Dr. Pascal. It's the Pascal maneuver.
Dr. Pascal.
Aquafina's mean.
Daddy Pascal.
Panicking, lashing out on pure instinct. Are you okay?
Oh, it's so rude. That was more rude than the stupid gravity well. What is with Fey Queens?
Maybe you need to stop approaching them impulsively.
They ask for our help and then they attack us when we show up.
I think it's because it's the wrong person getting through, perhaps.
Gail, you don't need to breathe. You go through.
That's what I'm thinking. Finally, I can use my talents.
You give it a shot. You give it a shot, Gail.
Yeah, I'm gonna slowly pierce the veil of this force field and just try and sort of move towards Aquafina.
We should probably try to rope around him. Keep his dead body out when he goes down.
I don't need no rope.
My rope on the island. It broke.
Oh, I have my rope.
I have rope.
Good for you too.
No, wait, I don't have rope. I have ink.
I have
Splutter. Make Aquafina's face.
You kind of instinctively now kind of like curl your wings in, and you do your thing where you're like, well, I don't need to breathe, I'll be fine. And you step in, and the water actually remains completely still. You can actually see this blue essence, these blue flames almost leaking off of you. The glitter in your wings that instinctively just kind of falls out is actually turning to small blue, almost like um, lightning bugs that are now just kind of swarming between you and your Fey Queen as she recognizes you and looks up. And you don't hear her words. Um, you get a sense that if she actually spoke, your almost body couldn't handle that force. But she looks up at you and just kind of smiles. And another tear falls, but it actually doesn't become a flame. This isn't a tear of pain, but almost a tear of happiness. As you're standing there in front of her.
Gal's going to walk a little bit closer, and he's actually going to open his mouth and, excuse you, he's going to actually open his mouth and try and talk to her. As he approaches, he's going to say to her, "It's all right now. We're here to help you. I'm so sorry you've been in so much pain for so long, but hopefully that ends now. It's wonderful to see you properly."
And she gently nods her head. And you kind of hear the whispers of just pure energy rushing through your mind as it actually kind of takes over and washes over you. For the first time in ever, that it seems, you don't feel Shanti's presence at all. In this moment, it is just you and her. And as you actually speak and connect to her, you feel almost the same amount of pain that she feels, just like hot knives piercing through your chest, pinning you to the ground. Like if you were breathing, like you would just be breathless. And she kind of connects with you, and it just overwhelms your person.
What pain is this? I feel your pain, and it is blinding. But my head is also the clearest it has been in a long time. Enough talking. Let's get you down from there. And I would like to, again, approach up to her and inspect these bone shards that are keeping her pinned to the wall.
I mean, even without a full investigation, you can tell that they are bone. They're almost vibrating to the touch. They look just like normal bones, but they're almost covered in like a white ichor. It's almost transparent, but you can kind of tell it's moving over the surface of the bone. And it is a curved bone, a rib cage. It looks like from a large mammal, and it is just pinning her to the back of this wall. Now, it's not really a wall. It seems like any space outside or past the barrier of ground is just almost looks like pure malice in your mind, where it's just that's what she's pinned up against with this bone. And you can kind of tell it actually came out from the malice and wrapped around through her front. So you can actually see the wound. Just because you're a cleric, you're used to seeing wounds, and you can actually tell it came from the back and went out the front and wrapped around, pinning her. And it's just holding her off the ground through her chest, and there are also some grabbing her wrists.
Oh, God. I'd like to reach up to one of the bones and sort of touch the ichor and just give it a sniff and see if I can maybe identify whether it's some kind of poison or something like that, like a potion that's keeping her alive.
You can roll a medicine if that's what you're going for.
Sure. Let's roll some dice. It's a +6. Are you? That's a nat 1. But it's +6. That's a 7, which I'm guessing isn't going to work.
You don't know what it is at all. In fact, that you kind of are like, all right, starting to look around to try to figure out what it is, and you touch it. In part of your examination, and you're just like kind of pinch it around, like or not pinch it around. Yeah, kind of like you squish it around.
Sort of, yeah,
with your
sort of
fingers.
feeling it, yeah.
And it hurts you. You actually take 1 damage just from that touch.
Oh dang.
And you can tell probably that it's magical. It doesn't seem it didn't, even with a nat 1, you know it didn't come from a realm of creation that you're used to. Like,
Okay.
this is otherworldly.
This is some fake shit.
Hey, Gail, is your fake queen still murder happy?
I don't really know what that means.
I think what Kiddis means is would Aquafina be okay if we came in and also helped?
I haven't actually asked that. Let me see. My lady, these people I'm with, they may not be your champions, but they still want to help you. I trust them completely, but I won't let them into the field unless you say so.
And she just kind of stares. She seems a little bit more like she was anticipating a quick rescue, but the longer it takes, she's kind of, you can see her face is kind of dropping a little bit. And
We'll
she'll
do what
give
we can.
a subtle nod.
Okay, come on, guys. I think we need to be quicker.
Kiddis puts her gloves on.
Oh dear.
And approaches.
Gloves are on.
If we can, I think we'll need to be quick if we can. It looks she's in so much pain.
See, let me see what I can do.
Yeah. Kiddis, you've been around bones and dead things. What do you think? Do you recognise any of this ichor? And what about the bones themselves?
I am doing a full-on investigation of these bones and seeing if am I going to be able to keep them.
Oh no!
Like an investigation of the ichor, see if it's any type of poison that I may have come across before as a rogue.
Okay. So you can do a medicine. Kiddis, go and do an investigation.
Frick. 9 apparently.
15.
I'm bragging, guys.
All right. So a 9 doesn't get you too much. You can tell that they are, well, even with, yeah. So you would recognize them though, given your fascination with the bones that you just picked up, and the Shalius fight that you guys were a part of. That these are definitely like the bone phase weapons. Like these came from her. As far as your medicine check goes, you recognize them not as a poison or anything. They're actually, it's almost kind of like a magical barrier. That if you get a sense that if Aquafina or the Fey magic came in direct contact with the bones would shatter. So this is kind of a separation, a liquid separating barrier between her Fey water and energy and essence and the bones itself.
So could we just wipe off the ichor and just make the bones explode?
Can I do an investigation check or something to try and see how to remove the ichor?
How can we just yank them out?
They're all curved around. You'd have to break the bones first and then move her.
That's a good idea, though. I think Cedar's gonna kind of like look at the behind spot, like where it's kind of like got her towards the wall, and see if there's like enough of a gap that she can like slide a dagger through and start like sawing at the bone.
Right. So
work.
first, Dana, roll a survival.
Okay.
Declared action.
19.
You feel that you could remove the ichor and wipe it clean. The issue that you would run into, and you kind of understand this, is that just like before, you understand that it's kind of a separating barrier. You would have to separate that from her. So you would potentially, if you wanted to wipe the bone clean, completely, just really quick, you would have to partially do it inside of her.
Okay.
Which I take wouldn't go very well.
I have an idea. Cut the as Cedar's kind of starting to saw at the bone, she's like, okay, so first we're gonna disconnect them, then we're going to pull them out, and then we can heal them very fast before bleeding gets too bad.
Yeah.
Just like an arrow wound.
Your knife cracks and splinters,
Gosh,
almost as
dang
if
it!
the carbon of the metal itself just became brittle.
May I?
She's like, looks at the knife. Okay.
What are you thinking, Dana?
She'll take out her old short sword, the very jagged one that she no longer uses, because she now has Sin, and she'll cut her arm with it, and it'll glow in radiant light, and she'll just in one fell swoop move down on the bone, as the sword is now magical.
Okay.
Nice.
The ichor jumps from the bone and envelops the sword. The radiance is eaten as the bone and sword are now actually stuck together, enveloped in the same ichor.
Okay.
So
All right.
And
Here.
any magic that was in the sword is being drained.
Very interesting. I
So-
still vote we try pulling it out.
What I'm saying is we gotta like break it behind and then pull from the front.
Or break the front with the curled edges and then pull out, maybe?
But the thing is,
Because
we
of the way
can't
the
break.
bones are.
We've been trying to break the bone. It has
Right.
not worked.
Right, I'm just
Well,
saying
but
if it's curved from this way, there's no way to bring her out without essentially chopping her in half.
Well, I mean, the fact that the sword, the ichor was drawn to the radiance from the sword. Has anyone got anything that would maybe work where we could drain it directly? I'm thinking if it attacked the
But it's
radiant
not
energy.
ichor. It's draining the magic from the sword into the ichor. It's not
Yeah,
going this going that way.
Can I have a look at the ichor and see if it's changed at all, just from the radiant damage?
It hasn't changed.
Okay.
Maybe. Oh, I think I see what you mean, Harry. Like if we take something and put it over in the corner and have that magic going off, will the ichor like transfer over to it, like kind of baiting it away?
Because it jumped, didn't it?
Like venom.
I know that, but I just think that I'm just not 100% sure
Right.
it will work. Just me. It's to make it. It's taking everything in me to not try to animate dead on the bones, and just can take control
Oh
of them.
gosh, yeah.
And it's taking everything in me not to do that.
I mean, that
Could potentially work. Yeah.
That could work.
As long as the ichor doesn't repel it, it should.
Was Gail's idea an idea he said out loud to us?
No, it was mainly sort of player to player.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Then
I can say it in character if you want, just to
It's
make it
up
a bit
to you.
easier. I'll say it in character, yeah.
Okay. So then,
What if we did this?
Dana's gonna click her fingers. Pork will pop up in the corner. What happens?
Nothing.
In the farthest corner from Aqua.
In the farthest corner from nothing. He's outside the barrier.
No, inside the barrier,
But
in the
just
farthest corner.
Nothing. Entirely, I guess. Nothing exactly. She seems a little apprehensive that he's there, and she took notice of him. But since it's your familiar and you are aligned with Gale, she didn't attack him.
And then, so then, Dana's gonna go, alright, this is a terrible idea, but it's an idea, and it's something I kind of have to try, so, to you, and she looks at Aqua, I'm sorry, but something is better than nothing, right? And, she'll take the
No,
next
Dana.
minute,
Dana,
No.
what are you doing, Dana?
she'll take the next minute and start casting fermentation on the ichor to try and age it away.
Oh.
Oh,
That's not bad, actually.
That's yeah.
wow. Okay.
I love how we all were just like, no, Dana, no.
We're like, what are you gonna do?
Dana, no!
When you don't tell us what you're gonna do, it usually involves fire.
Or beheadings. Or fiery beheadings.
We make a Ghost Rider.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
So
One voiced by Nicolas Cage.
You age the ichor. But your spell actually fails. And you realize that in this space, time does not move.
Okay.
So you are
Not
not in a realm where the concept of time exists.
So any spell that takes time won't work.
You spend the time casting it, but time dilation is not a concept here. So
Did we get any semblance of a long rest in between the fight and now?
No.
Okay.
No. Let's see. Let me. So we don't currently know how to get the stupid thing off. We don't. I still vote we try yanking it out.
I think we might be forced to do that at some. Yeah.
Because the thing is,
you're right.
because at this point, yes, but the thing is, she's also a Fae Queen.
She's already been in pain, so.
And the thing is like, would Fae Queens die from bleeding out? She would have died already at this point if she was going to die from bleeding out.
True, she has been bleeding out solidly for however long.
Yeah.
And besides, we
Point.
have charges that we could do a blood transfer if needed.
Is Kata saying all this out loud?
Yes.
I love that.
What do you mean blood transfer?
Huh. She makes a good point, actually.
Sorry, blood transfer?
It's a new medical thing. I've heard about
I
it.
wasn't told. I didn't learn about this. What?
It was a very small study that people tended to demean because some of the blood transfer things didn't work at all and made people more sick.
So hang on, you're going to put some of our blood into her?
No, I stole some of the charges earlier, so it'd be her.
I assume she means like about
What?
40.
30.
30. Yeah, we found a room full of
29.
them.
But
Why'd you go from 30 to
That's
29?
oddly specific.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So my
don't think
mic is
that's-
actually still buzzing, according to one of the. And I'm quiet.
Oh.
Okay. So let me do a volume adjustment really quick while you guys
Thank
sort out
you.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
so that's my thing, is that we yank it out. I have charges, I pull it out, we do blood transfer, because they all seem to be going to her.
True. And then once we get her down from there, we can worry about the barrier. Yeah. All right.
It might be without her there, it comes down on its own.
But she would need to probably. I recently learned that she needs to. There's something called consent.
Do you want to ask her then, Kittis? Or
She can try drowning me. Gail, ask her.
Okay, I don't know how to word it because I've never had to do that to someone.
Phones out.
I am testing. Do you guys hear
Sound good to
buzzing?
us. No?
Is there buzzing?
Mike,
There's
give us
a little bit. little bit.
As in my
Give me
cousin,
feedback,
not microphone.
Give us feedback if there's feedback.
Yeah.
Right?
Feedback.
Give us feedback if there's mic feedback.
Testing.
Oh, yeah, I heard my laugh. I heard my laugh again. And I'm hearing me multiple times. It's annoying.
Okay, I think I fixed it.
Okay.
I'll
Sweet.
let Keeper tell me, but I was just listening to the stream a second ago, and it seems like I'm doing all right. I just plugged my headset directly into my sound card, though, as opposed to going through my keyboard, so hopefully
Okay.
that's good.
Okay.
So Kid is kind of like hides behind Gale and almost kind of like pushes him like,
Oh.
I don't want to drown.
Okay.
Go ask Mom.
Pizza.
We have hot pockets. So we're gonna try pulling you out. It's probably gonna cause you a lot of pain, so I'm really, really sorry. We don't know what else to do at this point.
So you guys are pulling her, or pulling the bones out?
Which way does it look like it's going to be the least painful for her?
I mean, physically, if you were to remove the bones, or try to like pull the bones out, that would probably cause less damage, because if you were to pull her out, you'd be pulling her through the bones.
Right.
Yeah.
Like what I said before.
So
Yeah,
we're
I'm afraid of that.
then we're
Though.
going to do the bones. We're
Don't
just
pull
going to
the
try
bones.
pulling it. Dana, go pull. You have the highest strength stat.
Dana, out of all of us, you are the best at pulling.
There's a. I can't make the joke. I'm gonna. Just, I'm letting it go.
I have no riz,
I'm
okay?
letting it go.
So Dana will walk over to the bone and just go find Gale, but you're helping me with this.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
All right. And so mechanically, would that give me advantage on the strength check?
So I just are you guys gonna pull like one at her wrists, or like each one of you guys are pulling one of the ones that are going through her chest?
That are going through her chest, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We help too.
I'm going to. Kid is not helping. She's
Then
pulling out one of the
Cedar
charges to
helps
see
too.
if we're going to need to just kind of like plug the charge in.
Just sticks in the wound. It's like, ta-da!
I did it.
Okay.
Surgery.
A really bad band-aid.
So is Gale also grabbing a bone directly? That's the question.
Yeah, he's gonna grab the same bone as Dana.
Please tell me that you guys have gloves on.
Cedar also grabs a bone, but
Please tell me you have gloves on.
I was gonna
Oh
say
no,
takes the stash and wraps her hands in it first.
that's a good point. Yeah, so I'll take off a bit of rope and just wrap that around the palms of my hands.
Kidis is still wearing gloves.
You know, kiddies.
So you guys begin to pull all together. So it seems like I'm just gonna assume, kind of mechanically, you each kind of grabbed, Cedar and Kidis grabbed one at her wrists, and then Gale.
I'm not grabbing one. I'm preparing one of the charges to try to.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead and roll. So anyone who's grabbing and pulling, go ahead and roll a strength check. And then Gale and Dana, since you guys are working on the ribs together, I'm assuming, or are Cedar, you also doing a rib pull?
Cedar's helping with the ribs, yes.
Okay, so just go ahead and do like an advantage.
Okay.
So all three of you go ahead and just do a group roll with advantage then.
Okay.
17.
That is 18.
16.
Nice.
Yeah, I actually rolled above 10.
Yeah.
I got an 18. Would that be a strength mod or is that a flat roll?
Strength mod.
Oh wait, I don't have a strength mod.
Yeah,
No, you don't.
Flat roll
Flat
regardless.
roll.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, test again one more time, just for my audio.
Hear myself twice.
Oh, I'm going to refuse to speak.
Hello.
Sorry, yeah, that was probably on my end. Sorry. All right, audio issues should be hopefully resolved, aside from my loudness, which I can't seem to turn up anymore for some reason. But okay. 3 apps using my microphone. Why is that?
We have 6 viewers. Hello, 6 viewers.
Hi, 6 viewers. I just fixed
Hi,
my
6
audio
viewers.
issues. How are y'all doing?
We're currently trying to yank Bone out of the Fey Queen, and Kittis has charges to try to basically do a blood transfer as needed.
What is it with Kittis being Kittis is the group EMT? Like she and Gail were like the EMTs of the group.
We're the healers.
Yeah,
We're the healers.
basically.
God,
Alright.
team healer.
Bedside manners.
Yes, as in Gail has bedside manner. Kittis is like, wake up, don't die, or do I don't care. If you die,
Or do, I prefer it.
If you die, I'm putting your body in my bag.
Jeez.
Fine, cool.
I've given you a lot of things. I'm not giving you a fake queen body. I'm sorry. Anyways, okay.
No.
That would break reality.
So you guys all pull
Ew.
together as a group roll, and they actually you get a feeling that as you're pulling, each one of the bones actually begins to kind of crack. Because they are kind of just brittle bone. They're the same strength and same density as just dried bones. So it's a little bit of a pain, but you guys as together working as a team, the bones actually begin to kind of just break in your hands, and you just kind of break them out from the middle. As you're pulling, they just kind of come out with you. Now the bones are actually still kind of in there, but the center of the arch has been kind of broken out. The problem is as you guys pulled and the bones pulled is with you, the white ichor breaks and actually splashes on you guys, and it burns almost like acid, but you don't feel it physically. You almost feel it spiritually, as like it's not burning your skin, it's burning your essence. And your spell slots are now all drained. And so you have no spell slots at this point left.
Except for Kittis.
Except for Kittis. And
I hate this.
you'll actually each. Oh wow, that was a low roll. I just rolled 3 ones. And so you each take 3 damage. That was supposed to be way more dramatic.
I thought you were like D20s. That's fine.
No, yeah, no. I
I will
rolled 3
happily take that.
d6s and they all rolled 1s. I don't know how that just happened. But yes, so you guys each take 3 damage as well. The bones itself are now broken, that you could probably actually pull her off at the center. But the ichor is still kind of now draining down. And as it's hitting the water, that is kind of making up the bottom where you guys are kind of walking in, it's actually causing like drops of smoke to kind of like flash powder almost. And it's starting to kind of fill the containment.
Note to self, gonna be studying Fey Queen magic soon. Okay.
She says, jamming a charge into a wound.
I just kind of like hold it up.
I'm gonna study you.
Oh boy.
And so Kittis, why does she not like me?
She pops open one of the charges and kind of like holds it out to see if it just goes into her, or if Kittis actually has to stick it on her.
As you kind of break the charge, it does what the charges normally do, in that it actually just kind of evaporates out into existence, so it doesn't go to her directly.
Oh come!
That's sad.
Even without words, she actually kicks off the back wall and frees herself from the stomach and chest area. She's now just kind of flailing a little bit as the bones are still pinning her wrists.
All right, let's get the wrists. Come on.
Yeah, Cedar kind of. I'm assuming that she's a lot like taller than us. So Cedar kind of flies up to the wrist. Like, you know what, Harry? Hush. Hush.
While you're doing that, did breaking the bone like affect the barrier or at all?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna go explore the barrier.
All right. It's not super large. It's kind of filled with water. What are you looking for in particular?
Well, I'm trying to see, like, okay. First off, I did break about 20 charges, and then before I walked over, I was like, well, this is useless, and broke about 20 of them.
Just chucking them at the ground as you walk. I love it. Batman
Oh,
smoke
does
bomb.
your say for all the cameras?
So then, so what I'm looking for is one. You said that the barrier is like more to keep her in.
Yeah.
Will she be kept in by the barrier once she's off? Does that mean?
Roll an Arcana.
Because once. Okay. 22.
You get a sense that should she come in contact with the barrier directly, not pinned to a wall at full strength, there is not a lot of magic that can overpower her.
Sweet. We want about that then.
While examining with a 22, while examining the barrier, you actually look and start to like feel that the water that is like filling your boots, that you're standing in, and you actually start to just feel the immense power of the Fey Queen itself.
Noted. Now I'm starting to understand why you won't let me have her body.
So, are you guys just gonna go ahead and pull the top ones as well?
Yeah.
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 Still using the sash as guarding the hands.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and
No,
roll your strengths then, all three together.
That's a
Okay.
15.
I mean, that's a dirty 1.
7.
You said a dirty 1
Yeah.
How did
I
you
got-
use
I-
With a
negative
-1 modifier.
with advantage.
Did you roll
Oh,
with
yeah.
advantage?
yeah.
So you
I
rolled
didn't roll
2 2s.
I have a 17.
No. I rolled a 1 and a 2.
Okay.
So the 1 is just 0.
But so you got.
I got 17.
I got 7.
Okay.
I hate you
Did
guys so
you
much.
just beat Dana in a strength check?
Yes.
I feel
And
happy.
and Gale.
And Gale, but that one's
Just-
not
just-
as
I mean, it
So you're
is. It is something.
modifier. You have a -1. I said what I said.
Can I turn the Fey Queen's, like the water in the Fey Queen's thing into whiskey with my glass?
Please don't.
Oh no.
Please tell me you're not gonna
If
say
you
holy
were to
whiskey.
try, it would turn.
There's a time and a place, and this isn't either.
Are you
So Kate's
We
just
are not
gradually
getting
just
pissed
gonna
just
go,
yet.
are you filling your empty whiskey skin with water and having it turn to the whiskeys?
Maybe.
Okay.
Oh no.
I just need a yes or no.
Yep.
Okay. We'll deal.
Let's see how badly it goes.
Let me make a note. We'll deal with that later.
Oh mercy.
We are screwed.
But she's doing this basically like just as she's like walked over, she remembered her flask and was like, "Woo, water!" And just kind of does this while she's walking over to help them.
I got it. It's filled with Fey water. Anyways.
That's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, water. It's funny actually. My dad was from the East Coast. He was a New Yorker, so he had the New York accent. So he did water. So like it's just funny.
water.
He was water.
Water.
Water bottle.
Go to the car.
Happy.
Yep. But okay. So, natural
What are
one.
you typing?
Jesus. All right. So Cedar actually manages to free the one of the two bones that were holding in the risks. As the Fey Queen actually just kind of begins to flail around, and again the water, as it kind of breaks the surface tension of the bone and the bone breaks, it splashes you each again, and you don't have spell slots to give this time. So you actually just kind of feel it just drain you guys. And you will take 2 points of exhaustion each, as the water kind of splashes on you guys. And 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. But you guys are kind of brute strengthening it at this point. And now once her arm is actually free, she kind of casts her hand down, and touches Cedar's, Gale's, and um, Dana's foreheads, and you feel inspired to try for the last one. Um, your health points are still down, but it seems like you each have a boon. A D8 roll on your next check if you would like to try to pull the last one off in the same fashion.
Yes.
Kiddos will
Yeah.
actually time. Because like I finished everything I was doing back there.
Okay. So go ahead and all four of you roll your strength checks, with advantage plus a D8.
Because we've got points of exhaustion, wouldn't disadvantage on ability checks, wouldn't that bring
It'll-
it down
yep,
to a straight
yep.
roll?
Yeah. So the only one with advantage would be Kiddos.
That's cool.
So
And then and then a D8 you said for the
Mhm.
boon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
let's
straight
do
So-
roll and then plus D8. Kiddos gets
I-
advantage, but no D8.
I
17.
need the D8. You no! Oh!
I got
Oh, what did you do?
So I rolled a 7, which -1 is 6. So I used a D8 and I got a 1.
I got a 22.
well, I got a 5.
I'm
No,
just flipping
4.
off all my dice right now.
Yeah, you
So I
need
got a
you need
4.
new dice scale. I'm gonna send them to you.
I do.
You set
He
up
gets
an
new
Amazon.
dice every week.
Not every week. Come on, I'm not that obsessed. But the
Fair.
D20 been rolling is brand new. I've got a new set of dice in there.
So Kiddos is of no help whatsoever.
Got something
The
like other
either way,
tip of your
the last bone breaks and she
Got it.
pulls herself loose, and she actually kind of lands on her feet on the ground. Her legs were actually just kind of dangling there before, as she was pinned up on the wall, and it's almost like she hasn't walked in a while, because the moment her feet touch solid ground, her knees kind of give out, and you see this like 12-foot woman, like now just falls to the ground, kind of sitting, and she's sitting upright, but just kind of on her side, and her legs just seem too weak to stand for a moment. Which is a weird sight given how powerful you guys can all feel she is. But the moment she also gets free, the water just kind of goes up and breaks loose the barrier as it shatters into just this magical essence. And water actually slowly begins to kind of fill the bottom floor, or the bottom couple inches of the floor in the room. And now this just moment of silence as you guys just kind of lay there, or she's just on the ground and you guys are just staring at her. Hi, cat. Sorry, cat. Just forcing herself on my lap. You want to say hi?
Oh,
Oh, Calico baby.
no, Savannah.
Okay.
If Dana doesn't circle of life cork at some point,
Yeah.
I'll scream.
Must happen. Must happen.
Must happen. Canon. Okay.
It's a canon event.
So yeah, there's just this kind of moment of silence where you guys are all just now sitting, staring at each other for a second.
I'm assuming so Kiddos is like kind of leans over to Cedar and she's like, I'm assuming this is not the time to ask whether or not she can take my new bestie with her
No,
so that my bestie doesn't die.
my sweetheart.
And do you think this or say it?
She was whispering it to Cedar.
She raises a hand, and points to your bag.
My bestie out. It's like, look at you.
You see this Warforged now just kind of looking around, coming out of the bag for the first time, staring at an immensely powerful creature, and then four people that only really one of them she's known. And now she just kind of looks panicked and confused. But as she does, the Fey Queen actually reaches up and almost subconsciously, even though the Warforged doesn't fully have... Well, I guess she has a consciousness. kind of meets, and they
Existence
touch
is a
it.
lie.
Right? And the Warforged, interestingly enough, let me see, understands that the Fey Queen is actually a part of her because she runs on steam charges. And in that moment, she understands almost like half of her soul or her being belongs to this woman that's sitting right in front of her. And that fear that was washed over her face for a moment when she first came out of the bag is now gone. And she sits down on the ground in front of her, and you just hear the words coming out of her bestie's mouth.
I don't actually know her name.
Yeah. I know. That's
I'm
why it's
bestie.
amazing. And she kind of just almost whimpers in this metallic voice that she will serve her forever. And she will be with one forever. So yeah, she took your request and she listened to it.
Yay! My bestie can not die because we're getting rid of the charges. So Kenneth is just, I'm like, well, I don't need these anymore. It takes out the charges and just kind of starts smashing them. The rest of them.
What's the shit in my bag?
So as you take out the water charges and throw them onto the ground, breaking them, the essence is actually kind of permeating and just instead of going out into the ether, it actually seems to now be swirling around you. And the temporary hit points that the basilisk took are returned to you.
How many did they take last time? It was like 2?
I think it was only
I
a
don't
handful.
remember. Huh?
It was only a handful, yeah.
Do I get my years back?
Is that what you asked for?
Hold up.
No.
How many hit points did the Nightmare Lady take?
I don't remember.
I went from...
Yeah, it was 1/3.
Oh, it was about 14? 14 hit points. Okay.
Why don't you ask for all your hit points
So
back?
the Nightmare Lady still has those. She returned the
Yeah,
ones that the basilisk took. Which
so
I thought
I'm
was
now...
only like 2 or 4.
Yeah, it was about 2. Like, it wasn't much.
No,
I'm so happy
but it's everything for a wizard.
for my hit points back. Guess is very pleased at least 2 of them are back.
All right.
So,
It's the 2 she missed the most.
I'm so strangling that Nightmare Lady if I can.
so,
Don't worry.
Dan is going to kind of approach Aqua and basically say, so I don't know, do you get your strength back through magic or water, or how can we assist?
Roll an insight.
Okay. Ouch. 15.
That's an ouch.
That's an ouch. Well, for
that's
you.
a 10 on the die. So
That's like
you get a sense that just freeing her has begun the process. From what you guys kind of have understood so far from just conversations with other Fae and things like that, that these particular queens are existing because the element itself exists. So her destruction would result in the entire world's loss of water. She is the existence of water, which is so like her power essentially is the pressure at the bottom of the ocean multiplied by every square inch of ocean there is in the world. And so her not losing power and being free and parts of her being used is returning her essence to normality. So with an insight, you can just see her being freed and not being stuck to the wall of malice has already begun the process of her healing.
Wait, Doku, does this mean that if I collect Warforges and send them over to her, she basically will have an amassed army of Warforges?
I don't think I can answer that question for you yet.
Okay.
Because they're allowed to exist because she's giving them her power.
Mhm.
So the moment the charges run out and she doesn't want to give them the power anymore, they would essentially not be able to function.
Different ideas running through my head.
Oh, boy.
Probably not going
Oh,
to be
no.
saying them out loud yet.
Oh boy.
Right. So
Um,
I'll let Cedar and Dana kind of resolve any sort of requests they might have, and then I'll move over to Gale.
so first Cedar kind of like walks up and just kind of looks up at her. Are you all right?
That's canon. You're so short that even sitting, she's still taller than you. Is that what it's just like being that short? Just it's how you approach life.
Every gosh dang day, Doku. I've had 2 customers comment on my shortness at Sprouts.
Oh jeez.
I'm
Hey,
not
You know,
kidding.
it's pretty
Get
fitting that you
some
work at
belts.
Sprouts.
Oh.
Oh, you're so funny.
Thank
That was a good one.
Oh
You're
man.
very hard to get arm's reach.
Oh, it's so cute that you think that you can actually beat me up.
I don't think I could. No.
Yes, I could. You have sharp earrings I can use as weapons.
Word.
So getting back to the
Yeah.
session. This tiny little bird hops over to this massive fake queen.
Alright.
And asks the fake.
Sorry.
All right.
It's like a bit of
Well,
corn talking to a cabbage.
Cedar knows basically that that being asked that question means a lot more than whether or not you're actually okay. So she's asking, are you all right?
And she nods.
I'm glad. I won't let him get away with it.
And she do you have a request? Do you want something
Um,
from her?
Get something that can beat the crap out of your sister in the arguments.
Wow.
Sorry.
Charisma.
Could I have my necklace back? My sister stole my necklace, and I need to. I'd like it back, especially because it was a gift from the Fae. Either that or whatever is best. I don't want to impose, or because I know you just went through a lot, and I'm rambling. And Cedar just kind of puts her hand over her beak to shut herself up.
She nods. The necklace doesn't appear, but you have a feeling that she accepted your request. Also, your temporary hit points, that if any of the basilisk took, would be restored as well.
Awesome. How many did the basilisk take? I can't remember.
It doesn't matter now.
Oh.
So any temporary hit point loss is gone.
And then
Okay. None.
Dana's just gonna say, so
Oh.
I know it's not exactly your domain, but when I was fighting those creatures to help get my friends, mainly him, over to save you, they took quite a few years off my life, and that's time I really need. Can you give it back to me?
She actually holds up her hand, and I'm assuming you don't back away.
No.
And she has kind of a fingernail, and as she does, it actually cuts through seamlessly armor, leather, anything. Just goes right down to the skin. And she actually draws the symbol of an hourglass into your chest as a tattoo and taps it. And that hourglass, which is full at the bottom, actually slowly, doesn't happen all right away, begins to flow upwards and begin filling the top. And it has a year counter. So what did we do? It was 50 years for you?
Yeah.
There are now 49 grains of sand in the bottom and one that's filling the top. So the tattoo is actually moving.
Okay.
And so as which is weird because you realize time doesn't work here, but time is now seemingly working here. So you don't understand why, but it calls out to you as being odd. So yes, the time seems to be. You get the inflection that time is now moving backwards on your person, as this grains of sand move back upward.
Gotcha. And she'll kind of nod, just semi understanding what's happening, and back away.
And now she actually spreads both hands out and both arms out, and kind of signals Gale.
He'll approach, still somewhat marveling at the fact that she's actually there, as opposed to just a voice that he gets in his head sometimes.
So she actually begins to slowly stand up as you approach, and she's kind of on her feet. And she stands feet taller than you, mind you. The tips of your wings, which is the highest point of your person, are actually still lower than her height. As she takes both of her hands and touches your face and then kisses your forehead. And you feel a hurricane of just power flow straight through your person. Like, there is so much of her power flowing through you in this moment that you don't even feel yourself. You are just her connected. And she kind of backs away and smiles. And the glitter that your wings used to put out are no longer giving you disadvantage on any sort of stealth checks because the wings are not shedding anything. You have perfect flight.
And I don't get my cotton candy.
You have perfect flight. That when you're flying, doubles your movement speed perfectly. So if you were to dash in flight, you would basically quadruple your movement speed.
Holy moly!
Completely feel one essence with her. Shanti's presence is gone. Your healing magic, when pulling inspiration, will no longer pull inspiration from Shanti. They will basically be feats of water magic now. Your healing energy will be basically a cooling rinse, like where the wound would close magically and radiantly before. Water will actually form over the wound and slowly close it and heal it.
That's so cool.
Like, I guess thematically or visually, what you'd actually see is, you know how like you get a wound wet and it gets those white little balls on it and stuff like that, like a scab.
Yeah.
Like that type of stuff will happen as you heal the wounds. And you feel her presence, and you feel that if you ever needed inspiration again, you would probably do some form of prayer with water. So now you have a whole new table of skills you have to find if you would like to find them still.
Yeah.
But right at the end, as it's about to consume you completely, you feel it stop, as if it's giving you the option of whether you want to fully commit to this or not.
I won't resist. I will just accept in the moment that this is the path I'm taking. No one is making me do it. It's a path I chose, and while it's had its ups and downs, it's a path I don't regret. So I will continue headlong.
Okay. Then in that moment, the entire Tempest just commits. There was that brief pause, and you just feel the vastness of her power as you're just looking over an open ocean for miles. You almost see every piece of the world that the water touches, from the sweat beads down people that are working's face, to the oceans, to the raindrops that are all around the world. You feel as if you are all and nothing of it at the same time, and you fall unconscious for a moment because you just can't handle it anymore.
Hmm.
But as she's standing and looking at the rest of you, she smiles, bows, and you hear words for the first time come from her mouth. And it's almost too much to take. It's almost deafening, even if it's a whisper. And she says, "Thank you." As she becomes water, her and the water on the floor become one. The water begins to kind of fill the room as it overflows and begins to crack the barrier of pure malice around the entire room. She's waging war with this dimension at this point out of pure spite. And fear is the only thing left inside of you guys as you realize that shit is going down now.
So last time something like this happened, we just got plopped in the middle of nowhere. What's going to happen this time?
We should leave.
Yeah, we should.
We should leave.
Yep.
Do you guys grab Gale and leave?
I can go.
Oh yeah, he's completely.
I'm still.
He's unconscious. See her just like Dana, grab
Dana
Gale.
will throw Gale on the horse.
The horse, come on. We're worried about him. We're out of here.
You guys bail.
Just sort of flopped over the side of the horse.
And as you guys are like running out, even at the upper floor,
Touch his
you
wings.
guys begin like wading through the water, right? As you guys are just kind of pushing out. And
Pretty stressed.
as you
Just gotta
guys
get
breach,
away.
the dimension kind of closes behind you, and you guys find yourself in the labyrinth where you were before. Which I don't know if I have a picture of, so hold please. My cat is digging into my lap. It's kind of distracting.
It's just because she loves you.
She does.
Sorry, why am I talking?
Alright, you're out
You're
cold.
unconscious.
Start doing Thriller or something like that. Just.
Where did I put that? There it is.
Now I'm debating whether or not I should send a message to Reslin.
Don't. Oh wait, you do have spell slots.
I do have a spell.
I'm sorry. I was just
What?
asking because she didn't help all the way. She just.
I know. I'm
helped
so
the last one.
jealous. I can't even heal.
We all need to take a nap.
You need a nap.
Yeah, sleep off that hangover, right?
But
Oh, last night I just went to Panera.
Dana's
go
gonna
to
look
Sophie,
at
come over.
Dana's gonna look at Kittis and Cedar and go, "Which one of you can get out of this labyrinth the easiest?" Because I
I
can
have
take
spell
the
slots.
I can take the other one, and King can take us to the other plane of existence, and we can get out of here like it's nothing.
I can go to I still have plenty of spell slots. I can go to the. I would be able to get through easiest because I would just go up to where we were last time, and then use the earth spell to just bust out the side item, or just kind of bust out.
We also need to find somewhere safe to stay. We can't face Silvico like this, especially especially Gale. He's completely out for the count right now, and we all need rest.
Agreed. So I'll have King.
Right now,
I'll-
Harry.
I'll have King take us to the entrance, and then we'll reconvene on the material plane and find somewhere to stay.
Perfect.
Okay, Kittis just starts walking.
And so Dana will pull Cedar onto King, and we'll bamf to the ethereal plane.
Real quick.
What are you doing? What are you about to do?
What are you doing, Cherise?
So you know how there was the statue? She's gonna kind of like peek over and prepare to run.
What do you?
We made a mistake letting the kid go off by herself.
Yeah.
That was a mistake.
Which
Come
of
party,
the
Mom.
religious statue that they stole?
Yeah.
And what are you doing with it? Question mark.
I'm just seeing what it is because like she's just walking forward in the labyrinth and she just like got curious and so she like wandered over and she's now. Please tell me it doesn't fight me.
roll a history, I guess then.
Okay. History.
Mm-hmm.
Natural 20.
Okay.
Damn.
How?
I wasn't prepared for that.
How does one do that?
You wouldn't know.
Right? You wouldn't know.
Like a lot of things.
The right natural kid does whatever.
Um, you actually are a little bit perplexed by it because you were like, I'm gonna check this out on the way out. I'm in no hurry. Let them take care of all the important stuff. And so you kind of walk back to the religious statue, and it's actually kind of a weird hybrid. And the reason why it was stolen was not because the statue itself was as you kind of look up at it, though, you see that the stone itself was actually changed recently, and that you see a black velvet mask kind of affixed to the face of the statue, and it kind of doesn't seem to fit where it should be, but you kind of recognize it as the Mask of All Thieves, basically the Lord of Shadows. It is a representation of, and it's strange because it's affixed to a different deity. That you feel like prayers to this would actually give you a boon of stealth or misdeed the next time you did one.
Well, mind you, but by the way, when I walked to the torture room, I did grab some of the torture tools. He was like, grab this on the way up.
Just do a little bit of shopping.
Do you offer it a prayer now that you know what it is?
Can I take it with me?
The mask itself is attached to the statue, like it's stone. Like it's
Yeah,
stone
I
on
know,
stone.
but can I take the statue with me?
The entire statue?
The entire statue.
Hold, please. Trying to determine if it's too heavy. Yeah, that's the
Go
issue.
over it. Kind of go. Whoop.
Yeah, if you would try, I mean, mixed with everything that you already kind of have, it's not that it's a size issue, because yours is already the size of a, but if you put like a 3-ton statue into your space, it would probably destabilize your space.
Yeah,
Okay.
the bag can only hold mechanically 500 pounds.
Yeah.
But this thing has an entire castle in it, so
Yeah.
I think it
Yeah.
can
So yeah,
And also,
you get the feeling that it would still destabilize your space, though.
Well, I did get to take the torture tools, so okay, I do offer it a prayer and said basically tell it sorry that it got taken from its people.
So you actually kind of understand that you see the way people worshipped here before because the feet of the statue has been rubbed off, and you actually kind of touch the feet and humble yourself to the statue and offer it a prayer. Your next evil deed will have a D10 bonus.
Sweet. So I'm going to continue on then, and now that I have everything I wanted, because as I didn't get to go into the other room, and I'm not even going to try that because I don't have any teleportation left. So I'm going to just walk to the entrance now. Now that, by the way, could you just send me a message on which torture tools I actually have?
Nose hook, bone saw.
Pliers.
Rude.
Hold on. I think I actually have an item.
An entire breaking wheel. Am I the only one who knows that torture device? Please tell me.
A comfy
Doku
chair.
knows. Thank you, Doku. But iron.
Chair of reasonable comfort. If there's any
But
Monty
they were made
Python
out of
fans out there.
bone. A bone maiden.
A whole Iron Maiden made out of bone. Scale Maiden.
I did try stealing the statue. It just was too heavy for my
I
bag.
tried stealing the statue.
I'm so proud of you.
Statue.
Yes, apparently it would just say Ableist of Bags World.
You have a problem.
This place
You
is
have a
full
problem.
of evil people. If I take things from this place, it's not evil because the evil people are trying to hurt the Fae Queen. Therefore, I can just take whatever I want.
So I actually have a torture tools equipment pack.
Of course you do.
Of course you do.
Yeah, so don't worry about it. It actually contains a rectangle of cloth, comes with pliers of different sizes and shapes, a small knife with a small leather sheath, embalming tools of every type, a set of small saws, one larger saw for thicker bones, a mix of different candles that burn at a hotter than normal temperature, a bloodletting kit with a couple of needles that can go right into the vein with the sole purpose of just vacuum sucking out blood. And using the tools on someone for an hour will give them a level of exhaustion. And if you choose to use them frequently and get proficiency, you will also gain persuasion, intimidation, equal to their level of exhaustion.
So, wait, hold on. But based on what you said, these were actually perfect for kiddos dissecting dead bodies and taking them apart. Oh, this is perfect.
I just love the look on Sophie's face. She's like, what?
Right. You wait. I've only been able to use a scalpel in the past. I haven't been able to just saw through bone.
I'm dropping it in the items chat for you.
Thank you.
I'm so glad we have context in this campaign.
And these things are made from the Bone Fairy, which means they're going to be really hard to break, right?
This is going to be in the out of context compilation that will eventually pop up someday.
Oh yeah, big time.
This is going to be great, guys.
Sophie, make this happen. We need to.
I can take apart Chalice's body now. Okay.
He turned into wood.
I know, but it's going to be so much fun. I have proper tools. The scalpel wasn't going to work on the wood.
You can't really dissect a tree.
Yes, you can. Watch me.
You can.
It's called tree surgery.
Ring,
Plus,
ring by ring.
His body's so
Ring
fresh.
by
I can see
ring.
the blood's made out of sap now.
Ew.
So
I'm so
I'm assuming you
excited.
all make your way semi back up to the surface.
Traumatized.
Are you guys intending to kind of get out into the overworld, go into the cave system you were in before?
Are we just gonna go to where we were before, like the tunnel we made, and then just tunnel out?
I think so. Yeah, we're trying to get out so that we can go find somewhere safe to stay.
Okay. So Kay just goes up to meet them. Hi guys.
After
we're-
a few minutes, Gale will come to as well.
Hey, you good?
I don't have a headache. This is really weird.
Oh, yeah, because the last time you woke up like that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have an angry, petty god in my head. Huh.
What?
Oh, yeah, basically, if a god turns around and says, "You're my champion," you can say no. In fact, please say no, because it sucks.
Okay.
You
Are
know,
you
because
feeling? You dropped like a rock.
yeah. I feel different. Like
Like good different, bad different.
just different. Like these feel stronger somehow. yeah, I think at some point when we're finished here, I think I want to go for a fly again.
I should probably test out these. And she kind of looks at the newer wings.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So weird seeing a different pattern.
Kid is kind of like it's like skipping up and get to see about Teresa. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, hey, good work
Good to
with
see your weight.
like when you guys. I'm gonna be awake.
Well,
You guys did
anyway,
so well there.
I'll start the tunnel.
You did well. Are you kidding me? That was
I
what you did back there was really good. I think she needed to hear all that.
I mean, it wasn't really anything special. I just said what I was thinking.
It's funny you think that that's not special. All right,
It's
let's go find an inn.
So
yeah,
Kittis
yeah.
has while you guys were having this conversation, Kittis did start the spell to basically tunnel us out.
Cool beans, cool beans.
So you guys make your way to the surface. It is nighttime. One of the things that you would actually have noticed is that normally when you deal with things that are Fey related, time definitely works differently. Things usually go forward in time. Almost no time has passed since you entered the place that you were in and exited. If you kind of peek your head out as you open yourself up, there aren't a lot of people around. You can actually still see some of the embers and smoke from the fires set the night before, just kind of smoldering out just in the distance. You guys did spend some time in that cave, but you know what I mean. So there is still a little bit of chaos. You do see a handful of people actually start their flights towards the mountain, where everyone kind of who is going to be participating in the ceremony will have to go eventually. But everything seems calm aside from that.
We're gonna have to find a place to stay. I'm going to be asking about what's happening to the dead.
Oh, okay, I'll find a different inn. You never go to the same inn twice.
Why not?
Preferably
Because if Silvico knows where we stayed, since he knew we were in town, then he knows where to find us. And I don't want him
Oh,
knowing.
that's true. He tracked us
please don't
down
choose another
far too
rat.
easy.
Well, choose another inn with rat. Yo, you're never gonna let that go, are you?
No, I'm not.
If you're an elf, learn to let things
Can
go.
I?
You got centuries.
Is
I
Dana?
know. I
Is Dana?
chose the rat.
Is Dana with us at the moment, or is she still?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
You're still
Dana.
Mm-hmm.
I think I speak for all of us here. Stick with us tonight, okay? Don't go running off and causing some, what you did
Ruckus.
earlier on.
More fire.
Very.
Yeah, more fire.
That is
You know,
very, very much so over.
good, because trust goes both ways.
I know.
And I'm not trying to say you're grounded or anything, but for the time being, I want to
There's
keep
wind shift
at least
uncomfortably.
one
That
pair
word.
of eyes on you.
He tries to kind of crack a joke and goes, "Please, if you tried to ground me, it wouldn't work." And she kind of chuckles.
I'm being serious here, Dana.
I sorry, trying to lighten the mood.
Yeah, I know, but time and place.
So I guess we go and try to find a new inn.
Or we could just use the hut.
Oh, we could use the hut.
Yeah.
Spell slots left though?
Oh, right.
I don't need spell slot for
Oh,
ritual spell.
yeah.
The ritual spell. You don't need spell slots. Okay.
Blood hunters.
So you guys
So
gonna
cool.
just kind of pop off into nature for a little bit and
I'm gonna see where they went, and I'm like, I'll be right back. And so I'm going to kind of just see what's going to happen with like the ceremony and the dead.
From the attack that just happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm going like she's going to try to be sensitive with it, but she's just kind of like
she's not going to go over and be like, "Hey, where are you putting the dead bodies? Can I see?"
No. Might I see some corpses? No, she's actually
Might I browse your selection of fine corpses?
I'm Bob the Necromancer. It's time to do another unboxing video. Sorry.
No good.
Hey!
Very few things are too far. Unboxing video coffin is a little bit more of a not one I've heard too recently.
Also, I went full on Voldemort laugh there for a second. I do apologise to the viewers.
Right. You're British, it happens.
But I have a nose. Not better teeth, but I have a nose.
I can't breathe. Anyway, this is actually going to see how this is going.
All right,
Okay.
so we'll kind of resolve that as you guys part ways momentarily. So you're kind of still in your party attire. Your boots are covered. I mean, the bottom half of you is wet. You're kind of still drying off.
As we head up from the tunnel, Dana will prestidigitate everybody.
All right, it's kind of spruce you up a little bit from the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And she'll mend Kittis's dress.
Oh, thank you.
They're bonding.
They're bonding.
I'm terrified.
So yeah, okay. So yeah, we'll resolve that then really quick. So you kind of make your way back up to the gala area, the outside. I'm trying to find a map for it. Oh, I think I had it in Discord. Probably why I can't find it. So we will kind of get back up there. And there just seems to be a lot of people running around while I get this map up for us. Everyone's still kind of checking things out, but there's a lot of people still kind of crying, looking very sad. You see that not a lot of the bodies have been moved. They're actually still pulling some of the bodies out of the rubble from the house from some of the explosions and things like that. And for the most part, they're kind of laid out but covered. And people are just kind of sitting with them for the time being. And they're trying to reunite families, and people are staying with the bodies that are there for the time being as they're being pulled out of like rubble. And a lot of Warforged are kind of walking about, but as you were there at the party before, they don't really pay you too much mind.
I walk up to one of the Warforges and I ask them if they know what's going to happen to the bodies and all that stuff, like over the next couple days.
And he kind of just looks at you, and we're recovering the bodies for the families. They will go with the families. Do you have any information on where any additional might be? We're still calculating the losses.
I don't. I was wanting to get in contact with the families to see about helping them with saying their last goodbyes.
And he kind of just points, and what you see is small groupings of people sitting with the covered bodies of the people who had passed, and they're just kind of out in the garden area, all in their own little private space, but the bodies are covered on the ground and they're just sitting, and he just kind of points you over there.
So I walk up to one of the families. All right. Okay. So the kid just walks up to one of the families and she just kind of like awkwardly waves a little bit, like tries to see if she can get their attention.
Um, one of them kind of looks up at you, like, "Who are you?"
I'm so sorry for your loss. My name is Kirisvelta. I can summon back souls for a short period of time. If you'd like, I have currently one spell left for now, and I can summon back their souls so you can say your goodbyes. I know it was very sudden for you.
And they just kind of look at you for a moment and kind of acknowledge that you're not Owlin, and they, no, it it is okay. We don't need your services here for something like that. We would prefer the living funeral go uninhibited and the soul be free to pass on its own time.
Okay. And Kittis does this speech with each person, each family.
You get a little bit of a sense that each one will kind of give you the same kind of treatment or response. They acknowledge you, they talk to you, they kind of welcome you to sit down. Some of them are a little bit nicer than others. But the one that actually says yes, there were some humans at the party. The Owlins all kind of turn you away, as in they don't want you to interfere with the soul in its mission. But there was a mercenary there that had passed away that you see a couple Owlins just kind of paying their respects to. Some of them from you are a little bit more familiar with the crests now, and you actually see some people with the Calaris crest sitting with one of the human mercenaries that were there that actually died in one of the explosions, and they kind of acknowledge you a little bit more, and they go, what services are you intending to offer this soul?
I would basically pay for his passage, and then I would summon the soul back for a few moments so you could say your goodbyes.
I suppose that would be acceptable. He was very good to our family, protected us often. We paid him well, but he was a good friend to us. And if you would like to pay his passing, I don't know what his beliefs are, but I'm sure he wouldn't complain.
Okay, so the Kittis places down the 2 gold pieces and provides like a drop of blood and starts the ritual with the body, since it's the easiest thing to summon him, his soul back with.
Okay. And so you see kind of the soul kind of pop out of the body and just kind of sit up, and he starts looking around like the hell is going on.
Your soul has been summoned back momentarily, so you can say goodbye and have your last word before you pass on.
Alright, that was not a good fight in the end, wasn't it? Huh? And he kind of laughs.
No, it was not. It was quite rough.
Oh, that explosion came out of nowhere, you see. Took my whole... Oh. And he kind of looks at his soul, and his soul still has his hand. And be like, took my arm right off. How do I have it now? And then he kind of looks up at the family.
That makes no sense.
You won't need it. You'll be starting your passage into the next life.
Oh, damn. My next life. I hope it's not as shite as this one. That's flat broke near the end there, you see. So, I guess thank you for paying my way.
You're welcome. Is there anything you'd like to say to the family before you pass?
Nah, fuck them, lords and ladies. Y'all were cheap. You didn't pay nothing worth my services. And he kind of is like, oh, and he's like, I farted shit. And he kind of like leans over, and you see like a little poof of like soul essence come out of his rear end as he kind of like leans over and farts in their direction. And then you just hear, and he lays back down and goes away.
Oh, okay.
Kez just starts laughing. You had an interesting mercenary friend.
And they just kind of, interesting indeed. And they kind of walk away with like, just not shame on their faces, but embarrassment.
So, Kidis gets up and she goes to meet the rest of the group. And on her way over, she sends a sending message to Reslin to let him know that, let's see, Fae Queen was freed. We're almost done, and I will be on my way soon. Please hold your head up. Don't die on me. Love. How many words left?
That's it, right?
I don't know. I wasn't counting.
Was it 25?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's, yeah.
You actually get a message back. To the day I see you again. I just hope you can look past the sight I am in these days. And it's kind of not as coherent. But I do hope your rescue comes soon. And the message trails off.
Just before she meets the rest of them, she takes a quick breather. Kind of like punches a tree. And goes to meet the others.
Alright. Okay. And so you guys are all kind of making camp right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. So, you'll actually make it just kind of a fair way out of the city. Again, not a lot of roads. There were some main roads connecting a lot of the cities, but not too many others. One of the things that you noticed actually is that where it was a lot more deserty before, there seems to be a lot more humidity and kind of moisture returning to the air. And in some places, even in the sand, you actually start to hear running water. Not that you can see, but it's kind of off in the distance. And you guys kind of make camp. The trees actually begin to getting a little bit more color in the area as well, and the air is just really thick. But you make it an hour or two out of the city, and Kittis kind of catches up to you guys, and you all make camp together.
One heck of a party.
So what was that, Savvy?
I said that was one heck of a party.
Yeah. I'm guessing they don't normally go like that. I've never been to a party before.
No, they don't normally go like that.
No, not. Wasn't all bad though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there were some good things that happened there.
Yeah.
Okay. What next? And Cedar kind of
yeah. Then we should probably plan ahead and figure something out.
Yeah, Cedar just kind of like stands up and like is obviously kind of like mumbling to herself a little, like trying to think things through. She kind of like wanders off like a little bit, like not too far away, but a little bit away, and she starts like drawing in the sand, like kind of diagramming and stuff.
Gail's going to sort of follow her. And so okay, Cedar, you're spiraling again.
What?
Try you're kind of spiraling again.
Oh, I'm just trying to think.
Yeah.
Um,
You normally do that a lot, but this is a lot, a lot.
There's
Um,
a lot to do.
yeah. I think
Mm,
it might help coming up, but I think do you want to talk about your wings?
I mean, what about them?
Well, I
We got
know
eye contact at this moment.
well, I know you said that they were different and looks that way, and I don't know, maybe you wanted to get them censored. I'm just thinking if we're going up against Silverco at some points, which looks like that's what we're doing, makes sense to be at full strength, right?
Yeah, I think I would like that. They feel different than my old ones. Even when the hag replaced them, they still felt physically like mine, but the muscles feel different ever so slightly. And they're
Okay.
heavy, probably because they're bigger.
Yeah, they are a little bit bigger.
Yeah. Um, it's weird not having my own wings, but I very much appreciate what Kiddis did. I'm not complaining. I just, those were kind of one of the only things I could count on for a while. Will, wit, and wings. I
Yeah,
lived on. So,
it's the cedar combo. Sorry, that was not a good joke.
nah, made me smile a little. That's good, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Gal's gonna sort of raise his hand and say, "You know, when I first lost this, it was a big adjustment period for me. You know, not having your own hand there, having this new thing take its place. But I got used to it, and I think a big part of that was getting into the mindset that it was a part of me. It wasn't just some new extension that I put on. It was Gale.
mm,
A bit more metallic, sure, but still Gale. How about
yeah,
this? You've read a lot. You spent a lot of time in libraries. You know about the ship of Theseus, right?
yes,
Well, think of it like that. You know,
okay,
you just needed some new sails. It's still you. It's just a little bit different.
thank you. It feels weird knowing that I've seen the person that these came from before, though, and that I have them and now he doesn't. That
Yeah,
part is kind of
let's not dwell
weighing.
on that.
But thank you. I appreciate it.
I want you to try something at some point this evening. Doesn't matter whether it's with us or just yourself. When I first started to learn to fly, I meditated a little bit. I before I even tried to flap my wings, I sat down for about an hour and I just focused on my body and how it had changed. I felt my wings, felt every muscle spasm, every twitch of movement, and that helped me accept them really, really quickly. Maybe if you're up for it, give that. I'm not saying it's like a wonder thing that you can do, but it helped me out. Maybe do the same for you.
Give it a try. Thank you.
Anytime.
So, what was it like meeting Aquafina? Like, right before you passed out and stuff.
Oh, you mean when she was touching my face? I it was really weird. I mean, first of all, there's someone here that I was praying to for ages and ages and ages. Kiss. I hadn't had much contact with her, and then she's just there. I mean, that's pretty out there, right?
Was insane to see.
Yeah. And then she, when she touched me, I just felt this surge. I saw her reach everything that she had control over. You know, every drop of water across this world. And I felt what she felt. I felt powerful. And it was kind of scary.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I know I have powers of my own. I know that my whole thing is healing and doing a little bit of magic and that sort of thing, but this was different. There was something almost primal about that. Just raw, immovable, unshakable power.
wow.
She doesn't just draw her power from the water, she is the water.
And Cedar just kind of goes, "Oh my gosh! If Silvico had destroyed her, that would kind of take down the entire world because things need water to live." And that moron.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
excuse my French, he's a fucking idiot.
wow.
Sword.
Sorry, I
Yeah,
did not expect to hear that word from you, but
yeah,
I
you can blame
agree.
Dana on that.
Yeah.
I think you guys are really rubbing off on me a little bit.
Oh, my apologies.
I've not yet picked up your accent, so watch this space. But
Thank
yeah,
you. And I hope that someday I can help you the way that you've helped me. I appreciate you.
Cedar, you've been helping me this entire time.
Hmm?
Yeah, helping me learn to fly, just
Oh,
being a good friend. There's a lot of weird things that have happened since I've left the monastery. I mean, I've been knocked unconscious, faced death. I lost some limbs and grew wings. Like, none of this makes sense with the context of home.
uh,
We weren't going around chopping each other's arms off and growing butterfly wings out of our backs.
I should hope not.
No, none of this is what I expected my life to be. And with that and my mum realizing she's alive somewhere, there's a lot going on. But you've been there. I've never really spoken to anybody about my parents. You're the first person I've really told. Outside of the people that were there. And I don't know how best to say this, but you've become such an important part of my life, Cedar. So you don't have to worry about paying me back, or doing anything in return, because you're already doing it.
Thank you. I think you're the first person to show me unconditional love, other than Strix. But he was my brother, so I don't know if that's a condition or not. But
I'm not
thank you.
sure myself. To be honest, you're easy to like.
No one's ever told.
It's. I'm being honest. It's never a chore. Talk to you or getting to know you. That was never a chore. You were
Thank you.
so. Sorry, I did too much.
No, no, I'm not.
Because I can stop or I can keep going.
I
I
don't.
don't mind either way.
Whatever you. Thank you. I mean, you met my parents. You met Peleus. I'm not exactly used to uh really receiving a lot of kindness, so it's a nice change. You and the others, it's been nice. I think I thought I'd lost the ability to have friends or people close to me. I thought that wasn't for me anymore, but
Hey,
you all are proving that wrong.
I'm always one to believe that no one ever loses ability. You could go down the darkest path anyone could ever go down. You could shut yourself off for a long, long time. And I've heard stories of people that are on the verge of losing everything and they just close the door on everybody, including the ones they love. But you know what? Sometimes it's the people that hurt the most and the ones that have feel like they've lost everything that most deserve of kindness and of love. So you certainly didn't lose that ability. It was always there. It was maybe a little bit muted at times, but you never lose that.
Thank you. And she hugs him.
He's gonna have back.
Hmm. we should rest up.
yeah, I
Kittis
I
has
cannot cast
great.
anything.
Yeah. I am completely wiped out, and Kittis has a very weird look on her face ever since she came back. Also, I think she
Yeah,
knuckles look a different color.
yeah, yeah. I'm really proud of you all. Okay. You all did so well. I think I need to start telling Kiddis that a lot more.
It'd be good for her to hear.
Yeah. Can I be honest with you?
Sure.
I wasn't sure what to think of Kiddis when I first met her.
I could tell that, actually.
Yeah.
I suck at
Um,
reading people, but you suck at hiding things.
I've never really needed to hide it before, but yeah. I should probably talk to her more. Be a better friend. That's on
Good.
me.
She's a good kid. It's
Yeah.
difficult to see sometimes, but I can see that she's trying in her own way, which I
Yeah,
understand.
I mean, she helped both of us out with our limb problems.
Yes, and she's
And she's
learning.
yeah, I mean she's a sweet kid.
In her own way, but yes.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I should probably
Dana
talk
too.
to her.
We gotta make sure she's okay.
Yeah.
So Kittis and Dana both mutually sneeze in camp with whatever they're doing.
So Candace has pulled Shaylee's body out the back and has just started taking it apart. I don't know.
I desperately want Cedar to see that.
Because
Why is that out of the bag?
Because the thing is, it's like she now has the body out of the bag, and she's basically taking the torture tools now, and she's very methodically, very quietly, just taking it apart, like using the blood litter to see what's like the blood's made out of, like literally just taking the entire body and just taking it apart, like bit by bit.
The tonal whiplash. Cedar, I think as they're walking back, Cedar sees that. Why is he out of the bag?
So you will dissect it slowly, but it is almost like a perfectly done carving. The veins, blood vessels, arteries, muscles, they're all attached independently, so it's almost like the body of him was built, but every individual piece of him was turned to wood. The blood in the vessels are still sap, so if you do poke it with like a sprigate or the blood leather, it gives it a little bit of a force, and the needle kind of bends a little bit but springs into place, and what does come out is sap, but there is nothing alive here. It just seems like a perfectly articulated, meticulously built wooden version of him.
So I don't find anything magical left or anything like that in this body.
If you would like a vial of his tree sap blood, you can. I mean, how many hours are you going to be digging in him?
Probably until like right before she has to do her 4 hours. But like, do I have any vials left?
I'll say you do if you want it. Just a simple glass vial.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do.
Still laughing at the why is he out of the bag?
Like, I'm Google searching.
Kid is
That was one of the rules.
doing.
I think that's where it came from.
So help me.
I will say
I need to rewatch that
that.
film.
I mean, here's a fun fact for you: the typical autopsy takes 3 hours. Since he's made out of wood and you're doing it with torture tools, I will say the complete process to dissect him, it, them, whatever it is now at this point, fey-touched wood creature, would take about 6 hours. So you can get mostly through it in the 4 hours. If you wanted to continue digging and get like the heart and things like that, because it is still like all these body parts are still like intact. They're just wooden form. If you want to get all the way to his center, it would take you about 6 hours. So you can get mostly way through it in 4 hours.
No, I'm gonna say it'd be good. She's gonna go through the 4 hours until she eventually like her body, like she starts feeling her body like responding to needing rest. And she does not answer Cedar's question. She just kind of just continues what she was doing.
Gotcha.
But
Kind of like that is not gonna. I'm never gonna get used to that.
She's like in the zone.
mm-hmm. Well, it's more of she's kind of like letting out her anger via autopsy.
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying.
Kidis, you're giving yourself splinters from the sawing. You okay?
So she's basically like she doesn't make any noise. She doesn't like seem angry. She's just very like methodically like just going.
Oh, okay, so it's not just hacking and.
Yeah.
Oh, Cedar goes, oh, she's hyper focusing. Let's give her time.
Yeah, that's. We're here if you need us, Kidis. Just clean up after yourself.
She doesn't respond, and she'll continue this until it's time for her. Like she feels her eyes drooping, and she's like, "I have to go into my trance state."
We're walking away. Cedar gives her just like the tiniest of like head pat, head scratch kind of deals.
Girl sort of hesitantly just sort of. Actually, just like. And just walk off.
Oh,
I think now I want Cedar to approach Dana.
Okay.
He's out.
Oh, she's asleep.
What, is it out of the camp or just asleep?
She's asleep.
Yeah, I got 2
Go
points of
now.
exhaustion, right? So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you sleeping, or trancing?
Trancing twice.
Gotcha. So you're gonna take
wait,
your full.
so you're gonna be sleeping forever? Then I can just. Because if you guys want to take off the points of exhaustion,
Yeah, I think we're gonna sleep through all the points of exhaustion.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Kiddo's getting a nap.
So Kidis will do it. Will do her trance and then get right back to taking care of the body, and finish it.
So you guys all just gonna kind of pass out for now then?
Yes.
Yep.
Pass out, trance out. All right, cool. I need a perception check from everybody with disadvantage, and a stealth check with advantage from Cedar.
For what?
For Cedar? Okay, that.
Yep.
Wait, hold on. Question.
Mm-hmm.
Would I still have disadvantage in trance state?
Yes.
Okay.
21 for perception, and now you said
I needed a stealth check from you, so 21 for stealth.
21 for stealth.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
9
Well,
for me.
yeah.
Kidis notices nothing. She got 10.
I got a 7, so yeah, I noticed nothing as well.
Okay.
How did I not do the worst?
I don't know.
And what did you get?
Me, 9.
9. Perfect.
A mighty 9.
So in the middle of the night, Cedar slips out.
Still awake though, because Kidda stays awake for at least 4 hours.
No, you went
Okay.
into your trance.
Okay.
So you were awake for 4 hours. Cedar was asleep for 4 hours. And the moment you go into your trance and the coast is clear and she can sneak away, she wakes up in almost like a zombie state.
Oh gosh.
Her eye glowing and seeping miasma as it knows exactly what it's looking for. And in her own mind, and seeing things from her own mind, she's almost watching herself from inside her own mind. She sees herself get up, leave the dome, and begin to fly away, guided by her eye. And you just hear the words, Silvico, 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 being whispered over and over and over. And the creepy, cackling laughter.
I
The final deal. And she walks away.
Let this be a break.
Sophie rage quits.
Okay, I'm back. Coming.
Language.
I said freaking.
You should say the F word. That's my goal.
I'm
My
not-
goal
Yeah.
my goal is to get you to swear.
Right.
Sophie, say it. You can say it. It's fucking cool.
I don't think I will.
You're like, I'll save that one.
For a special occasion.
Exactly.
Like when Cedar dies.
So you, watching yourself in your own mind, kind of know exactly where
translate.
you're going. And you fly over to a very nearby city. What seemingly would take hours, you seem to almost be there in the blink of an eye.
Do I get a long rest since I'm technically not completely awake?
We'll see what you get here in a minute. You'll probably end up with a short one. So but you guys are going to be probably traveling after this, so you'll be fine. You creak open a bedroom window from a house that you don't recognize. And you see a woman and a man, owling, kind of sleeping together in their own bed. A man on his back with his hand over his chest seems to be holding some form of note. But on his head, you see a red stone. And you recognize it instantly as the Nightmare Stone, adjacent to the Dream Stone that Philo uses. You pull out your knife and hover it over the neck of this man you don't know, as you just hear the whispers, Silvico, Silvico, Silvico. And as you do, you kind of come back into your own consciousness. And I want you to roll a perception check.
Mm, That's a 6.
You look over at the Dreamstone, and you see what looks like a shadow sitting behind Silvico in the dream. And the Owlin man chasing after Silvico, and Silvico lobbing the man's head to another version of Silvico. And you see Silvico in this nightmare with this man, tormenting him in his sleep. And then you see the guy kind of tossing and turning in his bed as he's trying to get his head back from Silvico. And you realize, from what you can tell, that Silvico has been hiding in people's nightmares. And if you were to kill the dreamer, you would essentially trap the nightmare and Silvico in the stone forever.
Very quietly, I have Cedar's talons get closer and closer. But instead of going for the throat, she plucks the nightmare stone off and says, "On my territory, on my rules. No one makes me do this." And she puts it in her pocket.
Roll a sleight of hand.
Okay. Please. I'm gonna.
Swear.
I'm not gonna swear, Harry. Okay. That was
Embrace the darkness.
a natural one. However, I have a +10 modifier on my sleight of hand.
The stone doesn't budge. Let me see. And the stone doesn't actually budge. It's affixed. The moment you try to pull it away, it actually almost magnetically sticks back to, almost like it's self-defending itself. And what's oddly enough is he rolled a natural one as well, so he is definitely enthralled in this nightmare. So he does not wake up. But yeah, so you're still kind of standing there. You tried to pluck the stone off. It didn't work. You get a feeling that it won't.
I'm about within like a mile of the camp, right?
You have no idea.
I
And
try
you
to
have
fire
to be within 30 feet to initiate the.
I'm a gun. Okay. Cedar looks at the nightmare stone, knowing what she could do, but then she also looks at the couple just sleeping. Well, one of them is sleeping peacefully, the other not so much. In their bed. She goes, "Not like this," and then she leaves and starts to fly back towards the camp. And as she flies, Argos, what in the heck was that? You are not the driver.
I was only the navigator.
I don't care. Don't do that.
You made a deal for your fate, and she gave you the option to kill him, to restore your friend's health points, and to trap that nightmare forever.
Not like that.
Dang, I could have had my health point.
I'm sure that's why he's hiding there in the first place, because you are too weak to do what needs to be done.
I am sick of my family calling me weak. Shut up. If you're not going to be of help, then I don't want to hear from you until I ask again. Okay? You do not have to. I don't care if you're my relative. Stop causing me pain.
Your pain is
And she
caused-
flies in complete. And she. What?
Oh, I was just gonna say he was gonna shut up after that.
Oh, I'll say she flies in silence back to the camp, and she gets there. Does anyone notice her coming back?
No, they're out cold.
Okay. So she just kind of lays back down and goes to sleep again.
And as you lay your head down to go to sleep, you just hear Argos's voice one last time. Pathetic.
I
As
know.
he falls silent.
And I'd like to sleep like long enough that the exhaustion wears off.
I will say you. I mean, yeah, you'll get a short rest, mechanically speaking, but I mean, you guys are probably looking at 7 days travel, so it won't matter. You could probably clear your board here in just a minute.
Okay. When could it once we hit the at least the for her 4 hour mark, and then likely they'll have another what 8 hours for Gale to get off those exhaustion points, or are we just getting up at like after the 8 hours and then heading out?
It's up to you guys. So you have about 6 days before you have to be at the top of the mountain. So Cedar can do her council. Essentially, they have to resolve Dana's crimes, and they have to vote for their new elected leader because Pelly is challenging the current leadership.
So, how long would it take to get there from here?
Math. 5-ish days.
We have like 1 day of wiggle room.
Yeah, we should probably head out with
Yeah.
like
We use the 1 day of wiggle room. Clinton.
so.
But yeah, when depending on when the elves wake up, when everyone wakes up, Cedar is already outside and she's drawing on the sand again, outlining ideas. There's a diagram of an owlin, and you just see like points marked, like, and she's even like taken to writing on some of the like more like hill dune kind of looking things, so that it's almost like she's making her own blackboard.
As you're drawing in the sand, one thing will happen. You kind of slip a little bit and stab the ground, the sand, the soft sand, a little bit too much, and water actually begins kind of bubbling out from the ground, kind of like digging a little deeper in the sand in like an oasis. You can get a little pool of water. And as it bubbles out, you see the glinting of a gold chain.
Oh. She pulls the gold chain out of the sand.
It's your necklace.
You just hear that from the distance. Take that, sister.
What? Right.
And you just see her.
Who's
She's not
being
even
attacked?
to the camp. Who's pathetic now, Pelly? Woo!
Who's being attacked? Cedar?
Wait, I do have family here. I forgot. I'm sorry. I got excited. I'm sorry. And she puts on the necklace. Ah, that's one loop closed. Okay, gotta keep working. And then she goes like right back to drawing. She's just completely like zoned in.
All right. So what are your guys' plan then for the day? Are you guys going to take the day? Are you guys going to travel and spend an extra day up there?
I think travel and spend an extra day up there would be best. What do you think?
Either that or
Your mark.
yeah, I want to find Silco before we do the council thing.
Okay.
Like, I want to take care of that before we do the speech council, that stuff.
We should probably spend some time trying to hatch your egg.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to get rid of these exhaustion points, but
That'll be done
nitpicky.
for travel.
Yeah, that'll be done over the course of the week, I think.
Nice.
You know where he's headed. He's headed in the same place you are.
Okay. And she's like, okay, so if we meet him there, if we go fast enough, we can beat him there. Get there first, and then she goes back to the diagram of an owlin. Okay, weak points physically on an owlin here, here, here. Oh gosh, I wonder how much force that'll take. Okay, wait, different spell. I just want you to do okay, and then she goes over to another section where there's like words written down. She keeps writing. No, not that. That's not gonna work. And she writes out more. Ugh, hate speeches. Oh my. And she starts kicking the sand. Ugh, this is frustrating. Too
I
many.
feel like at this point, I think Gale will have woken up. He's going to walk over to Cedar, and as he does so, he's going to cast Goodberry. I'm going to go, Cedar,
What?
I like the fact you're showing that Sandu's boss. But here, take this.
What? Oh, and she's not even looking. She just kind of okay. Just it's like the complete like drive to work. Like she's just like puts her hand out in like Gail's general direction. Like, oh, thank you.
You okay, beautiful mind? Do you need any
I
assistance?
there's a lot to think about and too much to do. And I woke up last night and Argos was driving, or the hag was
What?
driving. Argos was playing GPS, and he called me pathetic. He tried to get me to. They tried to get me to murder someone. So Silvico's hiding in nightmares, and she's just like rambling this like just very monotone voice because she's still very focused. He's hiding in nightmares, which is probably why he's doing that, because he knows I won't kill somebody. But I wasn't just going to kill some innocent man, and he and his wife were just sleeping there so comfy, and I wasn't going to kill. And then Argos called me pathetic, and I told him to shut up and not to speak again until I ask him to, because I'm tired of him and my family hurting me and calling me pathetic. And
Hey,
I
hey,
write a
look at me.
speech, and I hate public speaking.
Look at me a
I
second,
hate
Cedar.
speaking.
Just
Hmm?
stop for a second. Just look at me for a second, okay?
Okay.
You have got a lot on your plate right now. I think we can all see that. Would it help if one of us maybe helped you?
Hmm? Like how I if I have an itemized list, and I think we need to take care of Silvico first, because that would make the most sense, having him not as a problem for the council.
Yeah.
I got my necklace back.
Oh,
Aquafania, she's cool. I like her.
yeah,
Um,
she's pretty great.
but yeah,
I'm not
so
saying that because she kissed me, but yeah, she's pretty great.
now Pelly doesn't have the necklace, so joke's on her.
Okay, so first things first, we're dealing with Silverco.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Okay.
We need to do that first.
Okay, let's focus focus your energy on him first. Now
Okay,
you're kind of
diagram. It kind of points to the diagram, and you see like
oh
it's like what you'd see on those like survival books, where it's like this is where you hit in order to like protect yourself, or like this is where a fatal hit would be, this is where an incapacitating hit would be, and it's all diagrammed.
oh well I mean that makes sense. Yeah, yes, hitting the giblets. Yeah, I can see where that would do that.
Not to mention, over the eye, the scar tissue would be very sensitive. Scar tissue is more sensitive than normal tissue.
Okay.
Not always, actually. I have a dead spot on my back from scar tissue, and I actually can only feel the outside rim.
Huh.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's trippy.
Fascinating.
I got a tattoo over it. The middle part didn't feel at all. The outside part hurt like a motherfucker.
Dang.
Anyway, yeah, fun fact.
Huh. So yeah, I wrote all this out. I'll think about the speech later, and she just kind of takes like the stick she's been drawing with and just kind of like scribbles it out.
Wait, the speech?
I'll have to give a speech at the council. Did I tell you about that? I have to.
No.
The reason that the hag took my wings is because I said that I don't think Pelly should be queen. And the hag didn't like that, and that's why she took my wings. So I have to go and contest Pelly's claim to be queen, which involves a speech. I don't like speeches. But
I
if I
can kind of tell.
if I have to do it, I have to do it, right? And there's so much stupid political jargon that I have to think of. A prosperity plan. I have to first of all convince those stuffy nobles that no, hurting a Fae Queen is not the way to fuel our nation.
It'd be pretty easy to convince them of that because the Fae Queen's gone now.
True. That is okay. That is a little bit of stress gone. Thank you, kiddos.
Yeah, that's one less thing to deal with. In terms of prosperity plans and that sort of thing, I mean, if you do end up becoming queen, which I know is something you've been I know you've been iffy about that. But I mean, from what I've read, all the big leaders, big regime change, always appealing to the local populace is always a good idea.
I think I want to set
So,
something up.
no, I'm not trying to explain, how to do this or anything like that, but
No
maybe put
worries.
something in about, local commerce and that sort of thing.
I like that. I like that. I definitely want to um give back to the Sartoris, seeing as they were so helpful when it came to my sister and brother.
Hmm.
Um, the Obscura also make really good agriculture, and I can even find some ways for members of the Caleri family to, because not all of a family are evil just because they're part of the family, even if I still don't like Polaris. But yeah, if we focus on that, and then maybe I could ask Dimrin about Goldfist Ale. It does seem to have made its way over here, and
Yeah.
maybe put a plant here could work.
That would
And,
increase jobs and help build up the
oh,
local economy. Yeah, that would work.
yeah. Also, I could also set something up for the people who lost their wings due to the Caleris very strict rule. I could set something up
Yeah.
um for people that lost their families for what happened last night.
This
Yeah,
is all really good, Cedar. This is honestly fantastic.
thank you. Okay, but now the big issue: finding Silvico.
Okay, well, I mean, we should be able to see his ego coming from a mile off. Sorry, I
Yeah,
know not this time or place, but
no, that's true. That's true. Um, I know that he'll be going to the mountain, so if we beat him there, we can get the jump on him.
I've been meaning to ask, what's so important about the mountain?
Oh, that's where the great owls are. Um, Owlin
The Grey
descended
Ants?
from like giant owlin, not giant owls. They descend from giant owls, and were actually technically Fey descent creatures, which is
Oh,
something speech. Um, so with how it works, Doku, how did we set that up again? You have the specific wording of it.
That you're descended from great owls?
No, the how the government, like how the change in government works, like with the republic
It's
monarchy deal.
a yeah, it's a noble led republic. So basically, there are representatives from all four houses, um, and then there are a representative essentially from each line of descendants. So what they'll do is the first day they usually discuss any sort of legal issues, like Supreme Court type stuff, is day one. It's a 4 day election process. The next 3 days are going to be them kind of putting their best case forward to what they're going to do to be the best rulers, and then the representatives from each faction, essentially, or the land of each. So the land is split into four pieces. There are four essentially nobles, lesser nobles from each place that will then vote to elect which house they want to lead. So it's a noble led republic essentially. So instead of electing a senator or governor, they are just representatives of each faction. Essentially, we'll say each house. So you will have to say, hey, this is all the things I'm going to do to be the next leader, and you will rule until you either pass away or someone challenges your rule.
okay. So it's I'm trying to think of different ways to put it, but it's almost like the Isles of Skyrim in that sort of respect. I,
Yeah.
I know, very very basic. I know, but it's like you've got the High Moot where you elect your leaders, you can
No, that's
challenge
not
them.
wrong actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we hit the road, and next time we rest, Kidus finishes dissecting Shaylis's body.
All right. So we'll kind of speed through the travel. Is there anything
Also,
you guys want to do for your 7 days or 6 days
yeah,
of travel?
there's one thing that Dane is gonna do before we head off.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna kind of just like very slowly, kind of sheepishly walk up towards Gale and Cedar and go, hey, I wasn't trying to overhear, but I kind of heard what y'all were talking about, and I might have a hypothetical fix for the wing issue."
Oh,
Okay.
And she'll pull out her sketchbook and she'll start saying, when I heard y'all talking about the groundings. I know I wasn't there, but from everything I heard about it, I figured something like this could be useful. And my only issue right now is figuring out how to power it without the charges because I refuse to use those. But she opens up the book to about halfway through and shows you an image of effectively mechanical wings.
Whoa.
So right now I'm thinking we effectively funnel wind into the wings through certain openings on the lower half, and then it powers like a wind turbine that allows the wings to flap. And the more you fly, the more it charges it up, the more charge you have to take off later.
Dana, this is brilliant.
I don't understand half of it, but I think that's a kind of a good thing. This is honestly really, really cool.
I don't know how you. Wow, that's amazing. This could be revolutionary for all those who were grounded due to the Clearest.
Yeah, a broken clock's right twice a day, right?
You're not a broken clock, Dana. I mean that in every way.
Well, thank you.
But hey, this is really good work.
I'm wondering,
Mm-hmm.
Dana, if I wonder if there could be a way to use steam power without using the Fey charges. If the physical properties of natural steam could technically do the same thing with just maybe a little bit more work. You know what I mean?
Right, but the issue is we need to find and the issue I'm having right now is we need to find effectively a way to store the energy no matter what form it's in for later use.
True.
But I'll keep tinkering. I wanted to present this so that you have, and she'll kind of rip the page out of her book and hand it to you. Just something you have for your side of the argument.
Thank you, Dana. All right, let's get going. I think y'all really like the mountain. The view is beautiful. I've been there once when I was little.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. The only mountain I've been on is the Everson Mountains, and that's pretty beautiful. But yeah, I've minded. Let's see.
And then
So, yes,
so
they
sorry.
start. No, you first.
Just once Dana walks away and you look more at the page, you notice that Dana has actually figured out how to almost perfectly mimic your handwriting. So it looks like you did this, she didn't. Because she just kind of knows that if the scarred woman made this plan, no one's gonna care.
God damn.
Oh, this is an excellent forgery. Holy cow. Like she just
Wait,
the rogue
forgery?
side of her brain ticked on. Really good.
What do you mean
What?
forgery? It's
Oh, that's my handwriting, but not mine.
It's your handwriting, but you didn't
Dana
write
did it.
this.
That is
What?
really okay. Wow. I
Okay,
gotta
why
ask.
is that so impressive? Jeez, that is
right?
really, really cool.
How does she do that? I can't do forgery very well.
I can write. That's all I need.
I'm sorry, just that I can write.
Yeah, it's just like a kindergartner with crayons.
See,
Yeah, I can write.
I can write my own name, Miss Aquafania. That's beautiful, Gail. That's beautiful, Katie.
I didn't mean it like that, but
I know, but now that's the only thing you can think. Okay. So I guess as they're traveling, I think sometimes when she's like needing to take like a brain break, Cedar starts writing those cantrips that we talked about, Doku.
Okay.
I sent you a message of 7 rolls just so then we don't have to deal with this later for my bag of mundane items.
Okay.
Charge real quick.
No worries.
Thanks.
I had an issue actually. The artwork I was going to use for this turns out to be like 100 by 100, so it's tiny. and is now unusable, so I'm scrambling to find another mountaintop castle. So give me 1 second.
No problem.
No worries at all. Should we take our 5 minutes here?
Yeah, because I have to use the restroom.
Sure, we could take a 5-minute here. We'll call it 1:15. We will be back then, and we'll play for another 45 minutes or so.
Perfect.
Cool.
Sure.
All right. So everyone watching, we're just going to take a quickie 5-minute break, and we will circle back for everybody. See you soon.
See you in a sec.
See you in a sec.
Yeah.
on your line. Oh. But yeah, someone was already in the bathroom, and there's only one available at the moment. So
Oh dang.
yeah, it takes a second. But
Oh man.
in the meantime, I want.
Aww.
Oh, kitty. I love cats.
Partially why I've been distracted today. The moment she jumps off, my potato jumps on, so I've just been alternating the two of them this whole time.
Oh, I just had a blonde moment then. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Oh, it's so cute.
All right.
Wait, is the aura of protection anything then like does it do anything other than just make me feel peaceful?
Like, give her temporary hit points.
No. Like, does it do like an actual like aura of protection type thing?
No. It contains an aura of protection. It
Oh,
doesn't. It doesn't exude the aura of protection.
it contains one. So if I use it, it doesn't have it anymore.
Oh, I mean, it's not an active item. It just contains it.
Oh. Oh, okay.
So it exists. So what it means is that if someone were to be like detect magic, it would show up, but you can't use it at all.
Okay.
It just has a byproduct of being beautiful and peaceful to look at.
I gotta figure out what I'm naming it. Anyway.
The small iron
Dave.
sculpture.
Huh? It's made. It looks like a phoenix, and it exudes peaceful energy. It's obviously now a pet.
It's called Dave.
No, I'm not naming it Dave.
I would have thought.
I already named my Goblin Freddy. I'm not.
I would have thought that your favorite would have been the second one, a backpack that makes eating sounds when items are put inside.
Oh, I know.
Oh
I
my
laughed at
gosh.
that one. I was just like, oh my word.
You just put something and you say,
I'm a back-
yum, 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 yum.
We get it. I love it.
Or what happens if you put something and you just hear cookies? Just from like the back.
Terrifying.
And that is the deepest my voice will go. So you're welcome, internet.
Cookies.
It's my cookie.
That's about as all I got.
Yeah, I'm not going any deeper. I will mess up my voice too much.
So your exhaustion will be resolved. Any points that are permanent will have restored, outside of anything temporary missing. Kittis. You spend the next few days just kind of traveling. The higher up you go, the colder it seems to get, until you kind of get to the top of the Imperial Mountain. Cedar's been here before. She kind of recognizes the path. There are no roads. Everyone's kind of just expected to fly here, so it's just kind of King and everything else, kind of holding on to Kittis as everybody else just seems to fly. And you guys kind of make it up there. It takes about 6 days. It would have taken a lot longer had you had to be on foot.
Question. Did I learn anything interesting about Shalius's dead body, Fey body thing?
Yes, actually, at the moment you dissected it, at the very core, there is a small. I don't want to call it a star. It would basically be like a round ball with spikes, kind of like the head of a mace, made out of bone at the very center.
Okay, I'm going to inspect this thing.
Remember the splintering spell he had that kind of exploded and shot off?
I wasn't there for the fight.
Oh,
I was in London.
That's right. So, the spell that severed the hand and foot of your friend Gale is contained within this. So, if it is charged with magical energy or spell slot, essentially you can sacrifice a spell slot and throw it in grenade form, and it will launch the same spell. Which basically is, think of it as a grenade a fragmentation that grenade of just slicing bone.
Question.
It's horrifying.
Is it one-time use?
One-time use.
Most grenades are one-time use.
Yes, but some magic items.
It's working like a true American.
No. This is a cursed. This is a cursed item. Just keep that in mind before use.
Interesting. I'm going to continue analyzing this thing over the course of the journey.
I don't know why I thought you were gonna say I'm gonna throw it. I was like, why?
I'm gonna explode a tree.
No, I'm gonna continue trying to figure this thing out because I want to figure out how it works, everything about it, about the Bone Fae Queen, everything.
All right. Just give me 5 arcane rolls then.
Okay. First one, 29. Second one,
Ow.
24. 25. 18. Well, how many more do I have left?
One.
One
more?
more.
It's not really gonna matter. if you got one.
28.
All right. All right. So, it is you. It's like, sorry. One of my cats is playing. What?
I'm proud of those rolls, but how the fuck have you done that?
Expertise in Arcana.
Yeah.
And also, I'm sure your dice don't hate you.
Only when I'm trying to sneak.
Right.
You jinx yourself, Charisse, when you try and sneak.
It's so funny.
I'm being sneaky. I'm being sneaky.
All right. So this one here, 3d10 damage, if charged. So basically, you charge it with a spell slot and throw it. Your throwing is probably, 30, 40 feet. It'll explode in a 15-foot radius. And again, do 3d10 damage. If it connects, so there will be a reflexive dex save on of 15, something like that. I'll write this out here in a little bit. It'll be a reflexive dex save of 15. If the save is failed, it will sever a body part at random. Head, hands, feet. Basically appendages that are not torso. It will sever one of them. So you'll roll a d6, and I guess we'll just determine if it severs and what it severs at the time. So even if it doesn't do lethal damage, it'll still do something permanent. Now this is a cursed item. It is a piece. Stacia.
Oh my gosh.
She's hunting right now. She has a toy fish, and she's got it in her mouth, and she's running around with it. I gotta see if I can. Do you still got it? Are you all done? Okay, she's staring at me.
Hey, it stole us.
Hi. Okay, there she is.
Hi, kitty.
Yep.
Hi.
It's my
Oh,
potato.
okay, hi.
All right. So yes.
Potato.
So, the curse of this one, though, you will know right away that the Bone Fae will know exactly where you are, what you're doing, and what you have done.
If I use it,
If
or
you use it.
Like have done as in
all
like
my past
lost a grenade?
actions.
Or have done as in ever.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, that's not good.
So you're sacrificing a piece of yourself, the spell slot, not permanently, just to charge it. So much like eating the soup, you get the idea that this is a Fey knowledge gathering mechanic that you're already familiar with.
I have an idea that's a very bad idea.
Tell it.
So on your final day of travel, you know that the
I have torch tools. I can force someone else to give up their spell slot.
Oh my God.
So I love it because she plays D&D exactly like how I play it. Because that's the
What
same
character
exact thing I
guitar?
would have just done. That would have been my first thought as well. I would have been like,
Mine too.
This is someone else's burden to give.
I'm just imagining Kiris just talking to them going, "Oi, give me a spell slot."
My only thought is how to capture them so they don't know it was me, so the Bone Fae wouldn't know it was me that was torturing someone to do it.
Chloroform.
Disguise
Oh,
self,
I changed my
alter self.
outfit. Huh? Wait, what?
Disguise self, alter self, seeming.
It's a good plan. I get proficient in my torture tools. Give me the.
So, anyways, moving on.
Do I get proficient if I use them only, like, even if I use them for autopsies, or do I have to use them on living people?
You would use them. I mean, I would hope you're not using torture tools on not living, because that'd be kind of pointless. But
I'm using torture tools to cut bodies open. You do realize that that's what I was doing.
I know that's what you were doing. That did not gain you proficiency in using them, though. So it would have to be. I mean, I guess you could torture the dead. You could.
I
you
know
could,
what I'm doing to whoever put us in the
You
mine.
could reanimate them, bring their soul back for a little bit, and then torture them. So I mean,
My
there's
God.
yeah. So you basically have to use them a lot to get proficient in them. Yes.
I know what I'm doing to whoever put Reslin in that mine.
Okay.
I'm so going now. Stop talking about torture. Can
I think stop excitedly talking about torture is the context between the lines that she was getting.
You guys just stop talking suddenly about torture, okay?
I was going to bury him alive. This is way more.
Let's stop talking about torture.
I have a book on British torture techniques that MI6 used to use. If you're interested,
I am interested.
We get taught that in primary school.
I will find it. It is in my Google Drive somewhere.
All right, let's go find Silvico.
All right.
Let's kill.
So
Let's not kill him.
Murder time.
it is a day before the election ceremonies. You guys reach the top of the mountain. It's very snowy. It's very cold, but very well lit. You guys are very, very high up. And in the top of this, you find just a giant castle that is notched into the side of the mountain. And outside of it, there are guards, of course, and then giant owlin statues, just basically huge statues that were legend to be their actual size, and they stand like 20-25 feet tall, or almost 10 meters for the Brits.
Thank you.
No problem. And so they're actually just kind of almost like gargoyles figureheads, just kind of guarding the path as it leads up to this castle. The castle actually has seen better days. I mean, as you get closer, you can definitely see damage, weathering, exposure. People don't live up here. It's only really used for elections, but it's almost magically protected and slowly decaying a lot slower than it should. Cedar knows a little bit of the lore of the place, and she probably would have explained that, like, this place is thousands of years old. It's built for and descended from the great owls, so the halls are all gigantic, the rooms are all gigantic, built to accommodate, creatures that are, 5 or 7 times your size. And as you
That's
kind
not
of...
much.
What's up?
So that's not much.
Well, I mean, if you go into your bedroom now and then multiply it by 5, it's kind of big. I don't know.
No, he's making another height joke.
Oh, right, because Cedar's tiny. Yeah, you're
Short,
right.
short answer, yes.
Man, I'm sad I didn't pick up on that one. That's a banger right there. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
I mean, I wasn't reaching too far with these jokes.
No, you don't.
Although Sophie does.
You know what I'm gonna do is one day we'll get her a collapsible stool that she can carry around.
Thing is, Sophie, when you return back to England, I've got a feeling you're just gonna give me a big slap, like when you next see me.
No.
No, because she couldn't reach.
Goku.
All right, so
Kill Silvico already.
Sorry.
Cast enlarge on her would just make her people size.
my wife is actually tapping her back. She's yelling at me every time we make these short jokes because I'm just shy of 5'8". I'm 5'7.5" ish, but she's 5'10", so she's about 3 inches taller than me.
I like how I'm the tallest person here.
Really? What are you at?
5'9".
Nice.
I'm thanking your wife. Thank you. I know you can't hear, but thank you.
She giggled. But okay.
See, I haven't got anyone like that, so I can just. Joke.
So
That
yes.
sounded I was intending it to turn out.
That was a noise.
What was that?
Cats are fighting.
Oh,
Ocarine got
Was
her
it
tail
okay?
stepped on. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But okay. So you guys make it there, and there's some guards there. Less guardish, more itinerary, right? More informational. They seem to be there caretaking the place. You can kind of see people on the outside kind of scrubbing the walls, trying to clean it up a little bit, make it a little bit more presentable before things start the next day. So, do you guys walk in? Do you guys approach the guards for a conversation? What do you guys do?
I approached the guards.
Okay. And they kind of look at you and state your business.
I'm here for the council. I am here to represent the Nictea family.
Ah, you're the second sister representing the family.
Yes.
Perfect. First one's already here. Yours, day one of deliberations after the courts have adjourned on day one. So day two morning, there will be a selection ceremony to see who represents your family, where you will be going up against your sister for succession. So that'll be on day two. Perfect. You brought the thing. Here, put this on her. And he hands you what looks to be a shock collar, and he's pointing to Dana.
And she'll just take it from your hands and put it on herself.
There we go. This will guarantee behavior. You understand that if you do anything inside the building that is considered malicious or anything that goes past neutral, there will be repercussions.
Dana just nods.
Okay. The entire building, just for those who don't know, is protected by a zone of truth. So be aware that the room will turn red upon a lie being detected from its speaker. So you cannot lie here. You cannot commit evil acts here, especially you now, given the collar. Anyone else in a collar, please do not interact with. Do you have representation?
Me, myself, and I.
Okay. Given that you are
And
here,
that one.
and that one, did you point to Cedar?
I did.
Okay. That is definitely understandable. It's how we thought. There will be witness of the other sister representing the family. You will be going up against the state for prosecution for murder. Do you understand your charges, or do you have questions?
I understand them perfectly.
Perfect. Okay. You will be resolved tomorrow, and your sentence carried out after ceremony. Any other questions?
Oh, I actually did want to know who all is here so far. Did the Sartori, Obscura, and Polaris make it quite yet, or are we the first family here?
We have representation from all families here. We have more of the Obscura should be, excuse me, well, I guess not all of the Satori are here. Most of the Satori are here. They have the farthest to travel. Most of the Obscura is here as well. They're still coming. All of the Caleris representation is here, including the new married couple, so congratulate them when you see them. And you are representing the Nictea family, and that is here as well. And you look over, and as kind of the snowstorm is settling a little bit, you see a ship, like a ship, like a boat, crashed into the side of your mountain. And roll a perception check.
22.
You see your brother waving from the ship. And everybody else on top of the ship just looks pissed because they have no understanding about why or how or what happened, but their ship was sailing, and then it was crashing into the side of the tallest mountain on the isle. So the direct words were, "He will cross your path."
Well,
And
That's
she made
one
it
way of
happen.
doing it.
just
Yeeted a ship into the side of a mountain.
Aquafania was like, I'm too tired for this to be subtle or graceful. Come here.
There's no subtlety with her.
ship empty. Yeet!
So
It was not empty. It had people
I
on
know.
it.
I was
Sorry, Sophie, was that ship or was that a different
Ship.
word?
Ship as in boat, Harry.
See, I could have sworn you just swore then.
No, I didn't, Harry.
we haven't gotten that lucky yet.
Shit.
So, at seeing this, Cedar goes, "Can we go say hi before we go and look for before we go and take care of our business?"
Yeah, go for it.
I want to see Acio. I haven't seen him in years.
Okay. Sirius takes pretty much all her pets besides Gibbous, Crescent, and her bird that she still has to reassert control over because it's been definitely over 24 hours since she reanimated it.
Oh gosh, I've forgotten about the bird.
Are you taking them all out?
Yeah, well,
Is she a
like
little entourage?
anyone that can move on their own, she just kind of like pulls them out, just like kind of like puts Atlas on her shoulder, Chrome's floating around. She's like, "This seems like a safe place now."
Go, my pretties, go!
Just this army of just things.
And that one little flesh mound thing just squelching across the floor.
It's making a squishing sound in the snow, like.
My Agatha just kind of keeps popping into different places.
What's yours? He's like, "Hey."
Yeah, every time you walk, she's on a rock in front of your path, and then you walk past her, and she's on the rock in front of your path again. Like,
I'm kind of imagining the scene from the first Toy Story film where they go into Sid's room and they see all the toys. That's the image I have, but more wholesome.
Yes. So he starts booking it towards her brother.
Yeah, so he runs up to you and definitely he gives you a really large embrace.
Acio!
It's like, "Hey sis, long time coming, huh?"
Oh my gosh, it's been so long. How are you?
Well, I was doing pretty good up until this morning. How are you?
Oh, that's a question for later.
Yeah,
Things have been crazy.
Kind of the last place I want to be. How about you?
Same. Honestly, same. I have to go and give a speech and try to become queen.
Oh, so you called the council?
No, actually, Pelly did.
Oh, is Pelly here too?
She is.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I thought she was with the Satori.
She was until she followed me. It's a very long story.
It definitely
good to
sounds
see
like
you.
it. It's good to see you too. I'm gonna try to get my boat back together. Honestly, when this is all said and done, if you're not running this place, if you want to come out to the ocean with me, honestly, I could use the company.
Thank you for the offer. I think
Sure.
I have a lot of business to attend to, so even after all this is taken care of, but I definitely want to catch up.
Definitely.
These are my friends. I have friends now.
This one seems nicer than your other siblings.
Oh my god!
Well, hello,
Shade.
Cedar's friends. I as the younger brother, I apologize for anything that she's done. She's always been a little bit of a handful. Not that I remember too much of her. It's been a while. But I remember her being a brat, so sorry about her.
Excuse me.
And he kind of just nudges you.
It's no problem, and I'm guessing emphasis was on a little bit.
Gail.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
This is Dana. This is Gail. This is Kittis.
Hello.
I kind of adopted this one, so you're an uncle now. Congratulations.
Kittis just like has Arthur around her neck, like Alice now sitting on her head, just like and holding Kirishima.
Him assuming he's older than you will pinch your cheeks and be like, "Well, aren't you just a cute one?" And it just kind of pinks your cheeks. It's like, "Welcome to the family."
Oh, I think that's the first of the siblings to actually be like, "Oh, that's your kid." Okay, to accept that.
Like, these are my friends, and he's like, "Boys," and then the whole ship just, "Oi!" and they just kind of like give like almost like a pirate's just yowl together, and it just the echo goes through the entire mountainside.
Cedar goes, "Wait a dang minute," and then Cedar switches over to Thieves' Cant. Are you a pirate now?
It's like, with a big smile on his face.
And in Thieves' Cant, she goes, I think you can tell already.
And he goes, and he just nods, and he just gives you like a money sign.
Kid just pulls out Freddy, now attempting to feed him.
Which one's Freddy? Oh, the
goblin.
It's the screaming goblin, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
the one that keeps insulting me.
Yes.
I've forgotten about Freddy. So
he takes the food and
Faster.
he begins to eat it, and he's like chomping, and it's just like gross, and like a tooth falls out because it's like decaying, and you kind of smell the breath, and he's like, tastes better than the rest of the shit that comes out of your mouth. And he's like, nom nom nom. And he's like, still you see you're hanging out with losers like the last of them. And he's just eating, and he's throwing half-hearted insults because he just wants food. Be like, by the way,
goblin.
this snow looks good on you because you're cold and frigid like your soul. And he's just doesn't even know what he's basically bullshitting, just dumb threats and stupid stuff at this point that doesn't fully make sense. But he's like, my tummy's full. And he kind of leans back and because he was in a cage, right? We had him in a cage.
He's still in the cage,
yeah,
I think.
He kind of leans back in the cage and farts, and it starts to smell just like boiled eggs.
Oh.
Ew.
There's still a lot of training to do with this one. And she puts him back in the bag.
Yeah.
He's very rude.
Yeah. Oh, has ACO noticed the eyeball yet?
He hasn't said anything.
Oh. She notices him staring. Yeah, that's a magic item. It's called an Esperite. Lets me look at pretty much I can just find a person. Also, it's our Uncle Talon. Apparently.
Is that also his wings too? Noticing your male wings.
No, I'm not really sure whose wings those are, but let's say mine got ripped off and this one did emergency surgery.
I sewed them on.
We probably have a lot to talk about.
We really do.
But I'm gonna get back to sorting out my boat, if that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got some stuff to do for the ceremony too. So we'll catch up later, okay, ACO?
Yep. I'll be getting a room inside just like you will, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then right before she turns away, she puts a hand on his shoulder, goes, "Hey, love you, big guy."
And he kind of nods, and he says I love you too, but in Thieves' Cant, as he's turning around to go back in the ship.
Cedar, is your brother a pirate?
I think he is.
He's so cool.
Realized.
He is so cool.
He speaks Thieves' Cant.
I want to be his friend.
I'm sure he's always been very friendly. I'm sure he'll welcome it.
I think that was the zone of truth just working. I still want to be his friend. I don't care.
All right, let's go have a discussion, shall we?
Yeah, I'm going to need to watch my mouth while I'm around here. My thoughts are just going to be completely gone.
Cedar goes from laughing to, oh yeah, I won't be. Let's go.
Okay.
Okay, have we hatched your egg yet?
Not yet. We'll hatch the egg after we meet up.
Because the thing is that we kind of need that pretty soon.
We'll hatch the egg soon. Don't worry. I'll try and hatch it tonight. Mm-hmm. I have no idea what that entails, but I'll try it. Okay. And she turns to the cards. Hey, would you happen to know where the newly married couple is? See, my cousin's the bride, and I just want to go and say hello to her.
Sure. They've already taken residence in their section, the Calera section. I'm sure you can find. It's in the same place it usually is. I'm pretty sure that they retired there. And he kind of gives you a loose set of directions just in case you didn't remember.
Thank you so much. And Cedar just starts walking in that direction.
Gale is going to follow, right behind. Go, Cedar, you are very, very determined to be sort of near this guy.
Dana
what's
trails
the plan?
off towards ACL.
Oh, so Dana doesn't go with?
No.
Okay.
That'd be interesting.
Oh, snap.
Oh dear.
So you
Wait,
you
oh, Dana.
pardon?
Can I follow Dana?
Yeah, if you don't want to go with, that's fine.
Are we splitting the party?
Oh gosh.
Oh no!
No.
It happens so
No!
well every time. So you yeah, you guys split ways. You kind of find yourself in the section. You kind of descend down a set of stairs into kind of an open area. And there he is, just kind of sitting at the trying to find a map for it. Yep, give me 1 minute to find a map for it. But you kind of descend down a set of stairs, and there he is, just kind of in a court opened area, kind of like a greeting area that has each house. You see their symbols on the banners there, already kind of hung up, and he's just sitting there at a table. At the table, you see his new bride, your cousin, sitting at the table. Her head is down. She's covered in kind of a veil and a thick white cloak. It looks kind of like a travel cloak, but it's obviously there also to potentially kind of cover her up. And adjacent to him at the table is a very tall, 9-foot, blurry image that you can't quite make out with a giant red eye.
Cedar opens up a mind link with Silvico. Let's talk. Well, 1-on-2, because frankly, last time we talked 1-on-1 didn't go so well for either of us.
So then talk.
Not in public. Not in public. There's things I'd like to say that I don't think you want other people hearing. And I'm trying to be respectful.
Well, so you're saying people can hear your mind link? You playing all your cards?
No. I want to speak verbally. This is just to get your attention. Or are you too scared of little old me to do so?
Well, seeing as how it's still mine for now, why don't we meet in the nice throne room? We can probably talk there, yeah?
Sounds lovely.
Perfect. And he kind of gets up, and you see a leash in his hand attached to his new bride, and he's kind of dragging her along, and followed closely right behind the blurry image. And you actually feel the room get colder as they pass you by.
Her wings are shaking with rage. But I think only Gale is close enough to notice that.
Okay, we need a plan here.
We do. We're meeting in the throne room. I secured a meeting.
Okay, good.
I'm not quite entirely sure what we're going to do, but I think I might have an idea on what to do about Miss 9 feet tall over there.
Yeah, it looks like she's not properly here.
No. And also, you saw that too, right? The leash. My cousin.
Yeah, I really, really hate this guy.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that I don't have a mind link with you right now because I do not want anyone else knowing how angry I am.
Look, whatever happens in there, just don't lose your cool.
Okay.
I know there's a lot going on, but just don't do anything too rash.
Okay. And she starts walking towards the throne room.
I'll follow.
Oh, that's so pretty. Sorry, that's really cool.
That's does.
There you
Oh wow.
Alright, I just
Gives
lost
me
your
like
token.
Babylon vibes.
Where'd Gil's token go?
Where did I go?
There you go.
He's right there in the center.
Where's my damn token? I went full Chetney then.
There
I
you
was
go.
about to
Do
ask.
you have some sort of timekeeping device?
Respect the alpha.
You gotta, when you hear the call of the wild, baby.
So you can tell this stone is very old, but it's almost unaffected by the weather outside, and it's peaceful. There's foliage. There seems to be a lot of decay and pebbles and things like that broken off, but for the most part, it is intact and just beautiful. The windows clear and clean. There are a couple people kind of cleaning, but as you enter the room, he shoos them off with just a wave of his fingers, and they all kind of run. And he's sitting, half sit on the throne, with his leg over the armrest, kind of just casual and comfortable. And he's just smiling as you walk up, and he waits until you're super close to the throne, at the base of the stairs. It's just like, how does it feel basking in my glory?
It's underwhelming.
Sorry, there's meant to be glory here.
That's not what your cousin says. And he tugs on the collar.
You know, I used to be so afraid of you, but I'm seeing you now, and you're just a sad little man. Sad little man who preys on literal children. Also, my friend, the scarred woman, told me about that bounty you put on my head. Does that make you feel big and strong, sending a bounty hunter after a 10-year-old girl?
No. I mean, you were a little bit older by the time I sent the scarred woman, but you ran out on me, and I was so sad and alone, and I didn't want her to kill you. And the room goes red when he says that.
Yeah, we both know that is a pile of crap.
So I did. Because you were gone. And undoubtedly, however tiny you are, a threat. A threat to my rule, a threat because you knew parts of the truth that would have been damaging. But
I'm also a threat because me and my friends took down your sweet little prosperity plan. He's free, by the way, and doing much better.
and he kind of clicks his tongue, just. She's free. Are you talking about who I think you're talking about?
Well, I think so, but I'm not entirely sure if you've caught on to my meaning.
Well,
Even at 10, I was smarter than you.
you're the idiot here. We control them for a reason. Have you not noticed the scars and know what's coming?
I'm trying to prevent what's coming. I'm trying to prevent the damage that you've started.
Their very existence threatens and destabilizes this world. I was doing a service.
Their existence is the stability of this world. You're just sad because you can't control everything. You couldn't control me. You can't control them. And that is beautiful. You see something to be feared? I see how beautiful and how everything deserves to be free. Them, me, Calliope, and even this nightmare lady over here. Which, by the way, I know the Fae are very transactional beings. I read the stories ad infinitum when I was younger. And me and my friend Kittis, we were the ones who freed you from that cute little dreamstone. I was the conduit to that. So you owe me. Don't think I would forget that.
He kind of smiles. I give her power. You think she's not here of free will? You see me as this evil being, right?
She's an underwhelming, sniveling piece of trash.
Well, she recognizes me for what I am. The giver of nightmares, the reason there exist. I've hunted and hurt hundreds of people. She came to me the moment she was free, so I could continue to let her to frolic. Just as my wife here came to me, didn't you? And you hear just a soft kind of whimper. Mm-hmm. Are you also here on your decision? And she kind of nods again, and the room stays the color it stays. So, in a way, it was the truth. Or at least you know it's the truth.
We both know that's because she just wants to keep Callista safe. Don't play games with me that a 5-year-old could see through.
Well, it doesn't really matter who sees through what when I'm ruling this nation. And after this stupid election goes through, I'll be ruling it still. You think you have anything on me just because you took away one avenue of just money? I've known you've been running the guild that runs my ships. It was only a matter of time before you disrupted it fully. That's why I tried to hide her so well.
Not well enough.
Well, what is your plan then? What do you hope to gain from your little endeavor, you and your sister here?
Oh, my sister's here on her own business. We parted ways a few days ago. A creative disagreement, if you will. But do you really want to know why I'm here?
Sure.
I'm going to end your entire plan, and your stupid prosperity plan, and your rule, and your marriage, if I'm lucky, and your life. Because you should have died 13 years ago. But you didn't. Strix did.
And his bloodshed was on your hands. Had you just done your duty. You don't really seem to grasp how insignificant you are to me. How insignificant you are to the grand scheme of things. You think you have the upper hand because you freed a fae? You align yourself with a fae, with a creature you don't fully understand. So, you seek to challenge me and destroy me, and presumably legitimately, which is a laugh because I couldn't see you even knowing what the word subterfuge is, so I'll leave you with a small parting gift. And palm down, he kind of walks down the steps, holds out his hand, palm down, as if to drop something into your hand. You can't necessarily see what it is.
The last time you gave me a parting gift. And she points to the scar. Let's just say I don't want to match.
No worries. This won't cause any physical problems for you.
And put it on the ground.
No. If you can't even face me without fear of what I hold in my hand, it shows how nothing you are.
she takes the thing, but then as she does, she grabs his wrist, pulls him forward, and puts a knife to his throat. I hate being impulsive. It scares me.
Roll Constitution.
Is that a con save? What is it?
Yeah, it'd be con save.
That's a 13.
Okay, give me 1 second.
I'm so nervous right now for Cedar.
Me too.
Oh, I'm just rolling really quick. You spin around, you put a knife through his throat. He remains smiling the entire time as you feel the hand that is holding the gem pulsing as your body goes limp and you fall asleep. And that's where we're in the session.
No! Oh god!
Ah! Panicking.
Oh my gosh!
Oh boy.
Okay, Gail's gonna fucking end this creep.
I barely made that sleep, by the way. I made it by 1 HP.
That's annoying.
Yep. So
My
we'll go and end the session for now. I hope you guys had fun. I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream. Thank you everyone for joining us. And I wish you all well. We'll see you for the next one.
See you later, guys.
And